I'm going to need a ton of coffee today. I was up at 4. And then, yeah, I woke up at 4, man. I'm doing the, my system is still getting used to this. I'm trying to do the plant-based diet, trying to get off of a lot of the red meat. It's causing me my cholesterol. I noticed that's my problem. And my weight gain is starting to come on. I guess I need to get harder on the keto, but if I get harder on the keto and I get more fats, my cholesterol goes through the roof and my doctor has a heart attack. So I'm switching to plant-based, and bro, the stomach just doesn't like it. So I'm like all night going, I can't sleep, and got up at 4, started working, and at around 6:30 in the morning, I said, I got to take a nap. I can't function. I'm on like 5 hours of sleep. And then so if you hear anything tooting, it ain't a band nearby.
I dated a vegetarian once, and
I'm sorry,
man, that was a long time ago, and I tell you, she could ruin some stuff better than any man.
I'm telling you, bro, that plant-based stuff. It doesn't make you any friends. I was at a restaurant going to my favorite place to have eggs Benedict, and I must have spent a half hour in their bathroom.
Yeah,
it's bad.
I mean, I think anytime you change your the bulk of your diet, you're going to have some issues. Well, like about 2 months ago, I decided, this is freaking ridiculous. I'm a big old fat guy. I'm a Marine, for heaven's sakes. I shouldn't be a fat guy. But I shattered my knee and was down for 7 months 10 years ago, and I've never been able to bounce back from it as far as weight.
Right.
And so I finally said, that's it. And me and my wife, we got on it. We were hitting it hard. Was doing really good, and then I got scratched at a roach job on my leg, and it developed cellulitis. I couldn't even walk.
Oh wow!
I've got pictures. I want to do a video on it, but it's
my
just
gosh.
And it was just a little bitty scratch on my leg at a nasty roach job, and my whole leg swelled up. It went red. I literally could not walk.
Oh my goodness.
And that was that was about 2 weeks before PJB. And, I had this thing in my head, I'm going to show up at PJB and everybody's going to go, holy crap, what happened to you? You lost half a person. Well, when you can't walk, there's only so much you can do. So I'm still, and that was 3 weeks ago. It still hurts.
Wow.
So I'm still.
Have you looked into the keto diet?
Okay,
you need to, because I dropped 30 pounds on it. And with me, my cholesterol has always been a problem. Daniel Dye?
Yeah.
Okay. He went on it, and his wife and him. Have you seen how thin he is lately? He looks like he's like lost like 10 years off his life.
Well, he made a big deal about dropping off Facebook, and then it lasted about a week and he was back.
Yeah, he's not going to last. Nobody lasts a week off Facebook. Nobody's that strong. I have a better chance of not eating carbs than not being on Facebook. But dude, no, seriously. I mean, if you go on keto and you just totally change, like getting off the carbs and just going with vegetables and salad and that, and eating fat.
Yeah.
You'll drop, like I dropped 30 pounds in less than 6 months.
Nice.
And that was 3 years ago. But I reversed my type 2 diabetes, which I was already borderline diabetic for almost 2.5 years. And my triglycerides were through the roof and my blood pressure was through the roof. And I went on it, and I've gained back about less than 10 pounds. And it's been over the last month and a half traveling, because I'm eating 3-4 meals a day, because my brain is sitting in a classroom for 8 hours, 3 days in a row, just ate up all my brain cells. And I mean, literally, and I just was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I normally have 2 meals a day. And I'm normally just eating, like my breakfast is eggs and maybe some beans. and then at night a salad and a piece of meat. That's my food. And bro, you drop it with keto like you would not believe.
Well, see, I'm a Southern Baptist. We love our food now.
I know, right?
But I'm at the
worst
point
meal
now,
you ever had was wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at the point now. I told my wife, I said, here's the budget for the grocery store. I don't care if I don't like it. If it's healthy, go get it. If you don't buy it, you don't bring it in this house, I don't eat it.
Right.
I
mean, I went on 16/8, that intermittent fasting, where I basically fast for 16 hours.
Yeah.
And then I eat 2 meals a day, but some people eat all they want in 8 hours. I don't. I just eat 2 meals in between 8 hours apart. So I'll have my breakfast like at 10, 11, 12, and then I eat my dinner somewhere around 5 or 6, and then try not to eat anything, because if I do anything, eat. And it's all about managing that insulin. Bro, it worked. You should give it a shot. Look into it. I did it. There's a great resource on the best resource I have is called Down Carb, Low Carb Down Under. They're out of Australia. This is PhD guy level of training, of where these guys have laboratories and they've been testing hundreds of thousands of people over 10, 20 years to prove the data. So it's a lot of science that goes behind that one.
See, mine's not medical; it's control.
Yeah,
I mean, but for me, it's real simple. I need to eat less, and I need to get off my butt more.
Yeah, but I mean, with keto, you don't even have to exercise, dude. You'll melt the fat. Like literally, your ketones will be melting the fat away while you sleep. You'll lose weight. I didn't work out at all. The only reason I'm working out is because I'm out of shape. I'm cardiovascularly out of shape. Once you start walking and you're getting tired and your muscles are, dude, look at this, bro. Does that look like it's going to pump anything anytime soon? I'm just a skinny guy, but I just don't want the muscle atrophy as I get older. I'm 50. You're younger. You're what? In your 30s?
43.
Okay, you look a lot younger. But bro, you're gonna start. I mean, I feel it, dude. So I had to start working out and getting back. I used to work out 6 days a week, 5 days a week for 6 years straight. I was in great shape, but I started the business and then married, and then it was like there's no time to work out, and I had to decide. So I get up every morning, do my routine, stretch, go to the gym. It doesn't matter now. It's part of my life again.
Yeah.
And you got it because you're young, bro. You're a young guy still. And it's hard to move around and get your stuff done. So bro, you've caused me more unrest in the last 3 days than anybody else I know. Yes.
What did I do?
No, it's not what you did, it's what you're not doing. I've
Lord.
been, since we discussed it over there at PJB, your YouTube.
Yeah.
I started doing some digging on your YouTube channel. And bro, you've put in the work. I mean, 100 and something videos over the last 4 years, and you're disappointed because you got 100 subscribers. And
well, the point here's one thing, and I know it. I still need to do all the things we're going to talk about. 100%. But my main goal for the YouTube was communication with my customers.
Right.
So, customers always ask this question and that question. So I just make a video on it. So when they ask it to me and I'm at their house, I explain it and I say, hey, I'm going to text you this video. So when I'm talking to daddy and he gets it, but when mama comes home, she asks a million questions he doesn't have the answer to. He can just
brilliant.
say,
that's a brilliant strategy.
Here's this video. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's the same thing I do. I got so many videos now. I can just answer any question with a video. And that's what I do with all my customers. I got a video on how we do our initial service, how we do everything. So it's wonderful. But bro, you could be milking that so much more.
There's a bunch that you can't see that are
private,
not private, but unlisted.
Unlisted,
that I send to my customers, like specifics on how we do things.
Right.
That I really don't want way out on YouTube.
Why is that?
because they get into pricing and
Got it.
all the little details of how I do things, and you got to keep some secrets to yourself.
I give them all away. I have, and that's probably the reason there's 5,000 subscribers on that channel. The reality is you're an ACE. By the way, if anybody doesn't know what an ACE is, he's an associate certified entomologist.
Woohoo!
Because that's earned.
So I was saying, you reminded me of something with the I needed to put on my to-do list is to get my ACE patches put on my uniform.
Right. Yeah, bro. So we give everything away. The deal is, if you're going to educate the end consumer, which they're online looking, and they're looking for answers, the guy with the most answers wins. And no, they're not going to the Jello pages. They're not looking at ads. They hate ads. So they're going in and saying, how do I solve this problem? And what they find is, dang, this is so much harder than I thought.
Yeah.
It's like I was looking at your apprehend video.
Yeah.
It's got 600 views on it.
Really?
But yeah, you got a ton of views on your apprehend. I'm going to go over some stuff with you. I'm going to do some screen sharing, and then I'm going to show you some tricks. I'm going to give away all my secrets so everybody can. Here's what I've learned, Aaron. You can give away all your secrets, and people are so lazy, they won't do a darn thing with it.
Yeah.
99% of people will not do anything with it. And I could care less. You've got a lot of, maybe you've got a lot of competitors looking at your stuff, but the reality is that nobody is going to do what you and I do in reality to solve that problem. I would have done a complete apprehend video on how you actually do it.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I've got two.
Okay, I saw that apprehend one. That thing was impressive.
One is kind of just explaining how it works, and the other one is how I actually do it.
Okay, so yeah, I saw the one where it actually worked, and you got a lot of views. What you need to do is you got a lot of work. And what I want to do is take the time, bro, because I really want that thing to take off. I was looking at your demographics for Maryville. It's a very small town. And with very little demographic. The nice thing about Maryville is the income is high.
Yeah.
And the cost of owning a home there is low. So people should be doing very well to be able to afford a pest control person. But if you look at your sales and your business, where is the majority of your business coming from? Is it from Maryville?
Yes.
Okay, so you're really well established there as far as the guy.
Well, Blount County, which I'd say, oh man, most is Maryville, but then there's a couple little side cities there, and I'm trying to kind of expand into Knoxville, but I got to put a couple other things in place before I can make that hard push.
Right.
Because
that's a drive, isn't it? How far is that? No,
it's 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so it's not, because I was looking at the map, I just didn't figure out how long. I saw it's
but distance. It's huge.
It's huge, yeah. So that's what I was looking at.
To the other end could be an hour, easy.
Yeah, because I saw that you have two major competitors in that market. You've got Orkin in Maryville, and then you've got Arrow, I believe. They're there. Yeah. So you got to beat the online presence, and you've got what it takes to be able to beat the online, to get the online presence, because they're going to be lazy about it, and there's not that much competition.
Yeah.
So you got to look at your 3-pack. Are you familiar with your 3-pack?
No.
Okay, so you've got the ads. The 3-pack is this. You got the ads.
Oh yeah.
You got your maps, and then you've got the organic search. When I looked you up, you're not ranking on the. You need to be in the top 3 of that map where people find you in Maryville.
Yeah.
Your other competitors.
It fluctuates hardcore around here.
Right.
Sometimes I'll be number 1, sometimes I'll be 3rd page, and I'll check it the next week. I mean, it changes constantly.
Right. You just got to do. You just especially in the maps, the way you're going to get more in the maps is more content. And, and you need to be posting more blogs there in your Google My Business.
Oh, text blogs?
Yeah, you can blog there. And, or you can put a lot more pictures up.
Well,
or,
I've got
get
a
more
backlog.
reviews.
Got a huge backlog of text that I can start pushing there.
Yeah, because if you want to, they let you blog now right there. And you can do a nice 500, not too much, 500 word blog, some nice pictures, and maybe a link to one of your videos on how to solve that problem. You got to remember, backlink everything. Google and YouTube are the same company. They're going to use their own juice. So milk that juice. One of the things that I did notice on all of your videos, you got one common thread. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up. Let me share my screen with you.
Hey, did you ever just Google hashtag what bugs me? I was kind of curious as to how, because when I do it, boy, that booger comes up.
Yep, you're gonna get it because you're gonna get it because this is to share. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna put you to the side here, and you and I are gonna be on the side. I've got two pieces of software that I've got installed. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to push this out of the way, the video. I've got two pieces of software installed on so I can analyze every page that I go to. I've got this, what is known this right here, where it says K tags. And this is an app that you install a keyword. It's called Keywords Everywhere. And you install that, and it's a free app to do search. But if you want to do actual keyword analysis where you import the words and you got to pay, but it's very inexpensive to get it. But what it does is that you can see the tags that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
On this video, I'm looking at inspect. This is another one that's doing great. But you have very little interaction on it. I'm just trying. I got to move around and look at my screen because I got a big white screen. And you can see over here, your hashtag, what bugs me, is there. Bed bugs, how to inspect a hotel for bed bugs, Knoxville Pest Control, Maryville Pest Control, Phoenix Pest Control, vacation hotel, and bed bugs. Those are all your keywords that are in there. Now, you can expand those keywords. You got very little keywords. It's hard for you to do keywords in YouTube unless you have a tool, because it doesn't show you the keywords what keywords are available. We use a tool, and I'm going to show you this tool right here, which is Vid Iq. Now, Vid Iq is expensive. It's like $39 for one channel. I've got 5 YouTube channels, and we've got 2 of them on Vid Iq that we use for tracking. Pestgeek is one of them. My Nature Pest channel is one. I pay like $79 for both of those channels. But it analyzes your channel and analyzes the keywords and then makes recommended keywords to you. This channel is very low. It tells you an overall score. You got a 38. You need something in the 50s because it's very hard to rank on YouTube. People think ranking on YouTube, I'm going to put a YouTube channel on and they're going to be able to rank. It's not so. It's hard because it's a very competitive space and they got to make it hard for you to rank because of the competition. It's not like jumping on TikTok where you're going to get 100,000 views if you do anything, because right now they're rewarding everybody because there's not a whole lot of competition. So it's got 1,600 views, the video, and it's 11 minutes. Okay. The way I'm going to show you, I'm going to open up another tab over here. Let me open up another tab on YouTube. I'm going to show you how I do this. Whoop, I'm on the wrong screen. I got 2 computers in front of me. Let me drop down my laptop. It's not going to help you. And we're going to talk about a couple of other things, bro, because I want you to rock this. All right. So here is my YouTube channel. I don't know if, can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So you notice I don't get a ton of views on my videos. Not a ton on all of them. But I put out a lot of content just like you. But I got 5,000 followers, subscribers. You got to be able to rank. The only reason people will subscribe to a channel is if there's ongoing stuff that they want to know about.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using it for one purpose, but how much business have you getting from your YouTube videos? Like, because you might not have a lot of subscribers, people who just don't want to subscribe to your channel, but they're looking for the information. They found you and they called you because they saw your videos. How much of that are you getting?
I mean, I get told all the time, they'll call me. They say, I called you because of Facebook, but then when you drill down, it's because they saw a video that I shared from YouTube onto Facebook.
So, right. So your following locally is really on Facebook. You're using the YouTube content on Facebook, and therefore it's generating the call. So it's still worth having. But here's what I do. You don't have nearly enough. And let me go over here. Let me go over on this side. I want to show you what I'm doing. In your YouTube studio, how is did you SEO your entire channel also?
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna make my screen a little smaller because I got to be able to see my own. I can't see my own screen. I've got this giant screen over here, but let me see if I can do. Man, this sucks. Anyway, when you go into your YouTube channel, you go into your channel.
Yeah.
And let me do this way. What is this over here? Let's drop that. All right. So let's go and make this a little bigger. I'm going to move it over here so I can see it. All right. So when you go to your settings and you go to your channel, you want to do it. You can follow me on this on your computer, but you go to your channel settings and you go to your channel. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to go into the general, but you go into channel.
Yep.
And I'm showing everybody all my keywords for my channel. For Pestgeek.
Yeah.
You gotta include all of the keywords that you want to rank for, that you want that channel to rank for.
I've got 6.
So okay, so what you need to do is you need to figure out all of the keywords. You need to be in pest control techniques, do it yourself, pest control tips. You got to think like, put yourself in your customer's shoes. What would they be looking for? And remember, they're not looking for buying keywords like how to buy pest control. They're looking for German roach control. How do I solve? And you got to put all those keywords that are major, like bed bug control, tick control, flea control, and then plus DIY pest control, because that's who's really looking. They're really looking for a DIY solution. You're the local expert. You show them all of your secrets and they will say, yeah, this is not that easy. Because if you do a simple video on just one product, they're going to think they can solve that problem with just one product. And therefore, they're not going to do it. So one of the things is making sure, go to your advanced settings, making sure that if you've got all of your, and you know, what I'm allowed to be, now you got 1,000, you're eligible for a lot of things after 1,000 and you start being eligible. But mainly that's where I'd be looking at my basic info, making sure that this is optimized. And what I'm thinking everybody wants to rank for. But then when I go to my content, I'm going to show you what I do. Here is one my guy just did yesterday. And I got to see how good he's getting. He's learning SEO. He's good with media and production and things like that. But here is, you got to have like a little paragraph that's keyword rich with what is known as latent semantic indexing, which is nothing more than synonyms. And if you put a, it's going to help you rank more, because here's what this app does for you. And this is very low because we're talking about Paul J. Bello. It's 28 out of 100. It's not very good, but it's designed for my in-house crowd that knows what I'm talking about. In the case of, let me go to another video and show you another option. Let's talk about, let's see how good this one is. Let's talk about, let's see here. Let's see how good this one is. I'm evaluating it now. He's trying real hard to learn this. All right, Pestgeek podcast interviews San Roman Kid Romeo of Commando Pest Control. The reason we got Kid Romeo, this guy's a former WWF wrestler. That was his name. If anybody's looking for Kid Romeo,
yeah, that's going to hit.
They're going to hit. So the reality is he's got way too many hashtags. Google is only going to give you 3 hashtags to show up. So, and we don't have any of my, so let me show you what I do with Asana. I'm going to get with him on this today, because this is perfect. I've got a collaboration app that we use, and these are all our projects that we're working on. But here's my SEO links. All right. And this is what I want to do. He's already got the hashtags. I want to make sure I link everything to my social media. So, all right. Now all my social media is in my video. So if they come across my video, they can follow me on Facebook if they prefer Facebook to see more stuff. So that's in there. The reality of organic social media strategy versus a spend with Sam Roman of Commando Pest Control. All right. Now, what keywords did we go after? Well, here's all my keywords in there. That's a lot of keywords. But all these keywords are regarding this. However, the strategy would be for me to take copy this with, this is my keyword inspector. This is the beauty of this software. I'm going to show you. I can take all these keywords, copy it, right? And then I'll go up here. And here's what I'll do. I'll stick them all in there, and I'll start writing content around all those keywords.
Okay.
And write a paragraph where now it's keyword rich. And then this takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to SEO a video. The reason is I'll write, and I might not use all of these because it looks like too much. That's like, I would have to write 1,000 words in there, 500, and they give you 5,000 characters. But I would write probably, so I can start, writing content around it, and you kind of get the picture. So I'm going to delete that. And this is the beauty of this app right here. It's this keyword inspector, because the keyword inspector tells me it's basically the same thing as a Google search. If I put in SEO, like video, or let's talk about something that everybody wants, YouTube SEO. All right. And I do a search. It's going to bring up all my competitors up here on the side that is doing the same thing. And I can go in and I can analyze their keywords and how they wrote it and whatever. And I can basically steal everything they've done legally. It's all notable. But SEO, look at that. YouTube SEO is the most used word 7 out of 10 times, 478 searches, 478,000 searches, 71 out of, and it has low competition. If anything has low competition and that much search volume, I should be going after it. Because if I'm going after high competition words, it makes it too hard to rank for it. I'm looking for low-hanging fruit that I can add. So I'm going to go here and drop that in there, and then I can take and drop these, and it'll drop them into my YouTube SEO tips. So if I clear this and I close it, there's the 2 keywords in there automatically put inside. I don't have to, and look how high these are, 66, 70. These scores, like this is wildlife. You know, the reason we put wildlife in there is because he discusses wildlife in the content. But unless you put it in here, it's totally useless to put that keyword in there. It's not related. This is why we got a low score. This is why we got now look at when I added 2 keywords that are pivotal, and my score went up to 43.9. It's got a checklist of things you need to do. He didn't create a card for it. All right, so I'm going to create a card for it. You got to create a card. And I'm going to have to go in there later and do all this. And where's my video? Let's go this. An end screen. No end screens were created. You can close caption it if you want. It's going to help. And can I monetize it? And these are the things. I'm not able to monetize this yet because I need to take 2,000. And then reply to recent comments. So all these things will help in your SEO. So this is kind of like a guideline. It's got 5 out of 5 tags. Good. So it gives you a scorecard. It's actionable from an actionable perspective. 43.9% out of 50, which is really good. Let me show you one that I actually SEO'd. All right, so I'm going to show you one. Let's go back. All right, listen, this one right here. Did I do this one? Who's this? Jake Inluch. Let's go back a little bit further. Let me see how this one's done. All right. Let me see where we're at. All right. All right, so here you go. I want him to show up in the local market, so I'm going to drop it in there, his name and the city. And basically a little thing, a blurb. I got a backlink to him. When we go into the SEO part, since it's an interview about him, business planning, how to start a business, all my keywords are in there. Some of those keywords are embedded in latent semantic indexing in here. So I took his info, I dropped it in there. It's actionable, but look at my checklist. 1 card, 1 end screen, everything I could possibly do, shared on Facebook, I did. That's the best I can do for that video. I'm not going to close caption and I can't monetize it. There's no ads. So that video has gotten 100 and something views already on it. It just depends. So what you got to do is figure it out, but the tool really helps. One of the things I also noticed on your videos are that your intros are super long.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yep, they're super long. Everything is going to Sonic branding and really short. Like all of mine, if you go to Nature Pest, let me show you what I've done. I don't know if you've seen mine. Switch. Like these are all my YouTube channels. If you go in to some of my older stuff, and we've done like, let's take a look at that one. Hey guys, Frank Pestgeek. And there you go. That's it. I get into the content.
Yeah.
Because you got some videos that are 2.5 minutes long, and your intros and outros are 2 minutes. You got more advertising going on than content. People get turned off by it.
Yeah, I've actually, believe it or not, that's shortened big time.
Yeah, so that's what I would focus on, because you got a great logo and you've done a great work with that eagle, the Phoenix flying. But let me go over here. I'm going to show you this one. Let's go to my channel, and is your agency's website builder driving? Of course, I've got ads. Don't get mad. You do that. That's 4 seconds. That's it. And that was actually 8 seconds, and we found it too long at 8 seconds. We shrunk it down to 4. And what you got to do is you got to make sure that your titles are like, see this one right here, it's got 40 views only. All right. And then, but look how many keywords we got in there. 57 out of 100. I mean, that's pretty good for that little video. And that's about as good as you're going to get. Look at my actions. And this gets into my channel. And you get a lot of analytics from this, which is awesome. And basically it's, select plant dealing with slugs and snails. And it's basically about slugs and snail. Now, what I do is, if you got enough content, Aaron, how many views you get doesn't matter, because people start following you for a reason. And what you want to do is you want to do a lot more videos in the markets that you want to reach, because let me show you something that you can do it. Are you geotagging your videos inside?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. So they're actually in the location you shot them. They're actually thumbed in that location.
Yes.
And so what I would do is do it in several cities. Like do it in Knoxville. Even if you're not there.
For each video, or
I would focus on the markets you want to reach. Start geotagging videos from those locations inside. So you might do a content where you mention Knoxville, that you're serving Knoxville, and German roach problems in Knoxville, instead of just Maryville by itself, because you need to be where the action is. And if you want to open up that market, like right here, I got a lot of work to do now on these last couple of videos, but like sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't, depending on if I want it. Go down here real quick. Like video location right here inside your video. You can make it for a specific city.
But you can only do one per video. Correct.
But you might dedicate a series of videos to the markets that you want to target.
I got
you. German roach control in Knoxville, Tennessee. How to solve German roach problems in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you drop the keyword in there. And you can do the same video, as long as you take that video and you re-render it. And you don't upload the same video. You can go ahead and use that video multiple times throughout YouTube. You just can't be the same video more than 3 times. So what you do is you re-render it again. So you get a whole new video with a whole new name, and you upload that video exclusively for that purpose. And then you tag everything in that video for the market you want to reach, and you geotag it here for Knoxville, Tennessee, let's say. And you got to make custom content for it. So, once you get the hang of this, SEOing a video takes about 15 minutes, because you're going to go back and forth with your keywords. You see, I'm dumping a ton of keywords in here that are all high value. And then I could geotag this. How plant selection and irrigation errors and landscape design affect plants and pest control service. Look how many keywords are in there. Plant, irrigation, pest control. You got to use up. You got 100 characters right here to use. Use up your 100 characters. Don't worry about putting your name and the hashtag bug me in your title. Worry about putting keywords in that title that are relative to what you want people to find. You can stick your hashtag down here. It'll show up. If you stick a hashtag in there, it will show up in the video. Let me show you.
Okay.
Is your agency's website?
There it is, my hashtags right there. See them?
Yep.
There they are. So you can put what bugs me. Don't use up that space for your name. Your name is already, it's almost like you're spamming. So that you could be getting dinged by YouTube for doing that.
Okay.
So what I would do is make sure you have more content here that's rich and do keyword analysis. I would definitely, if this one is too expensive, then look at TubeBuddy. These are words we could not use 20 years ago. But I would look up TubeBuddy. Is really, this one's better, but TubeBuddy's good. And you can see, look how many keywords this K tag, and then take other people's videos that are ranking, go through YouTube, find other people's that are ranking, figure out what they're ranking for, and do the same thing, because remember that this is a competitive sport. You have to outdo your competition to rank. It's not just your local market, but you got to outrank everybody else. So when somebody goes and looks for, I'm trying to rank for this. This is very hard. This is competitive. This is why I don't care to give it all away. Most people are not going to put the work in to make this happen. I got to outrank all these guys. There we are. Nature Pest shows up. Look, and my videos show up. Look how many videos are on the top page of YouTube right now for me. One, and this is nationally. This is not local. Nature Pest, plant selection. There's my latest 2 videos. And I have to outrank my competition. So this is the competitiveness that you have to get with in order to be able to get your videos to rank so that people do call you for the business. And give away. I've got on my Nature Pest. Look at this one. I'm going to show you this one. If you got an apartment, which people are, all right. This is a keyword. There it is. I got the #1 video on YouTube. I've got the second video on YouTube ranking nationally. I got 3.
Let me ask you this.
4 videos.
If you are signed into your account on YouTube, do you get the same results when you do these searches?
You should. I've done it incognito, and everybody says, no, you got to do it. I've done it on Nature Pest incognito. Go ahead and but look at this one. That thing's got 126,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
The next guy's got 10,000. How to get rid of roaches for good, 1 million views, except they don't tell you how. This one only has 15,000 views. That's the reason people are going in and they're getting views, but they're not really solving it. There's one we did, only has 6,000 views. And this is one we did in inner city. This one's why roach baits are more effective, 66,000 views. You got a lot of content. I would go back and just re-SEO all that content Let me see here. But you got to be willing to give it away. I mean, the only reason I got this is a 20-minute tutorial on how I actually do it. You know how hard it is to explain IPM and roach control to a client? And then but you can't hoard. Let me get out of here. What am I going to do here? Let me see here. Get you over. What the heck am I doing? Oh, here. Okay, stop share. Here we go. All right.
Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, right. you can't rank and in a media where everybody and their grandmother gives everything away, and people are going in looking for a solution, and that solution isn't there. You're a certified entomologist, associate certified entomologist. You got the knowledge, you've got the experience. Give it all away. Because you want to be the local expert. You can't be the local expert. Right now, you're the local entertainer on pest control. The problem is nobody's looking for entertainment on pest control. People want solutions.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of funny stuff that could be like supplemental because it shows your personality, which is fun, but you got to give me some meat. I can't survive on gravy. And that's what I would do. I just give it all away. I would post all those videos with solutions. Forget about it. Don't put the pricing stuff because then it locks you in. What you said on your video, your pricing is this, and now that was 4 years ago, and your pricing's gone up. But
that's the only thing that I've kind of kept to my unlisted. There's I don't have there's no like DIY actually do it this way stuff that's restricted. It's all out there.
Okay. Just then SEO it better because you got a lot of content, man. I mean, that's a lot of work. That's why I said, man, I hate you putting all that work in and it's like you're not ranking. However, what are you doing for ads on your marketplace? What are you doing for marketing?
Nothing.
Okay.
I hardly even since the day I opened, we've maybe spent maybe $1,000 in 6 years in any kind of advertising.
What are you getting on a daily basis as far? Are you happy with the marketing you're doing now? I mean, that you got on Facebook going?
Yeah, I'm kind of weird. And this is my hang up. I don't like paying for ads and stuff because when I personally see an ad, I never buy anything off of ads or believe anything that's said. It's all bull crap.
Right.
So, but I realize that's my hang up. So I've tried to do, a Facebook thing here and there. We did a little Google thing once and it was just a waste of time. But I'm sure it wasn't done correctly because I'm doing it all. And I want to grow, but I want to grow slow.
Of course. Yeah. You have to be able to manage it.
Much slower than what the industry says it should be. But I'm comfortable with it. I can manage it.
What number do you got in your mind? Because that helps. What number do you have in your mind that you think you want to grow at?
See, I don't. That's another thing. I'm probably doing it wrong by everybody's standards, but I refuse to do like projected numbers. Those are fake numbers.
Right.
My thing is, look, do a good job, work hard, sell stuff, kill the bugs, and more comes. If I hit a certain number, great. If I don't, great. And also the one thing that kind of changes everybody with that thinking is because they have debt. I have zero debt in the business. So if I'm at a certain level, I'm putting money back. So when I do need that truck, I can just go get it. I ain't worried about.
Yeah, and I think the number necessarily doesn't mean that you're either succeeding or failing. It's what it is that you're like. We sustained a 25% between 25% sustained growth. for 5 years. And that was very manageable for me. Anything more than that, it gets uncomfortable.
Actually, my metric is, for the first 3 years, it was 3 years in before I paid my mortgage on time.
Yeah.
So now that, I'm feeding my family, I'm not rich by any means, but we're paying our bills, and we got some put back. I'm happy. So growth at this point is
cherry.
gravy.
It's the cherry on top. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I think that's a measurement of, do I want to grow? And then do I want to grow so much? And then how much more do I want to grow past myself?
Yeah. And that's where I'm having the biggest trouble, is because right now, it's me and another, got one technician, and my role is mostly sales and all the admin stuff, and he's doing the killing. I want to grow, but that puts me more in the field, which not doing exactly the stuff that we're talking about now. And with the YouTube, we've got and the blogs, we've got a heck of a lot of content, but it comes in spurts, because I just, I'm in the field. Like, yes, we were talking yesterday. I was like, oh crap, I got to go out in the field.
Right.
And it gets bifurcated pretty bad. So, like, when I came back, every time I come back from PJB, and I've got one today, I've got a nice fat list of to-dos. It may take me 6 months to weed through that, but fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it when it gets bifurcated so much, everything is just extremely slower. I need to be in a position where I'm not in the field as much. I'm nowhere near that point in the business. And
how many hours a day are you in the field?
3 or 4 or 5, depends on the day. Sometimes all day, sometimes zero. It's all over the place.
Right.
But I'd say average half
a day. Okay. And the other half, you're doing admin stuff and sales.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That does fill up your day. I mean, that does. What I do is I just set I have ADD like Max. And unless I set routines, I can't get anything accomplished, because my mind is all over the place all the time. It's like being in here. It's like being in a one of those nuclear reactors where things are just bouncing around in there and they're not hitting anything.
I'm the same way. Like, you see this green screen behind me, the whole time I'm thinking, we're talking here, and my brain's my side.
But that's how we're wired. That's how we're wired.
I'm thinking, so
you got to create routines. Like, one of the things that I do is I got lists. Like, you saw my Asana list right here. Let me show you something. This is a great tool that is free for you. That might work out great. Let me hold on a second. I'm going to show you this. Let me share my screen with you here. All right. So where's my Asana? Here we go. All right. Let me open this up here. Put it up a little bit more. Asana is where I use for project management. Here is the Pestgeek podcast. This is all the stuff that we have projected to do.
Yeah. I got one of them lists.
Okay, but we chip away at it. Like, wait, it gets better.
How do you eat an elephant?
How do you eat an elephant? And here is Nature Pest.
Yeah.
And here's a project, which is his project that I'm helping him on, my video guy. And we're working on this project.
Yeah.
Here is one that's meditate on the scripture. This is a project I've been working on for 2 years on doing a Bible meditation video series. Wait, the plant nursery show, and there's more. And my internet is so freaking slow. I've got all of these projects. So how do we chip away at it? Every day we have a meeting. Every afternoon at 2:30, we sit down on the phone and say, okay, what are we chipping away at? I did this morning. I did this video. I did this one. I got this off my list. Here's, your list, and everything is uploaded, and we're highly organized. Unless we become highly organized, it's chaos because his mind is worse than mine. We would be a total mess. The thing is, we work well together because he's all creative and I'm more analytical.
Yeah.
And that's why he got all the video right and he got everything right. And then he missed all the SEO stuff because SEO to him doesn't click, doesn't register. It's something that he's learning now. So I just got to let him do it and then go in and say, hey, you missed half of this. And then he goes back in and fixes it. But I got to let him do it because if I don't let him, if I hold his hand, he'll never learn to do it. So I got to take the hits. And the hits is anybody going to die because my video didn't get 100 views? No, I don't care. But we're getting the content out. I mean, daily we're producing. Pestgeek will produce one a day right now, and Nature Pest will produce one a day right now.
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is one thing I've always struggled, and we've heard of pod fade. We all know somebody who's pod faded, and YouTube does the same thing. Mine are I guess more produced than like yours.
You're overproduced.
Probably, but
Yeah.
see, I used to own a recording studio and a video studio.
Right.
So that's kind of my wheelhouse. In fact, when we first started and the phone wasn't ringing and we had nothing to kill, well, I can at least sit down at my computer and make a video and overproduce it, you know?
Yeah. We used to do the same thing. We did actual television production together.
Yeah.
I mean, we worked in an actual TV studio producing a TV show. So yeah, I get it.
So my thing has always been, I've been doing a season a year, you know, and I'll shoot them and edit them and all that kind of stuff in the winter when we ain't got anything to do, and sandbag them, but it doesn't. So I've got this big dead space, and then
you lose your audience.
I start releasing them, you know, weekly throughout the bug season. You know, that my thinking is that's when people are looking at stuff, and
to get the algorithm. Remember, you're not dealing with television, you're dealing with algorithms.
Yeah.
And you've got to. I went ahead and I had my YouTube channel on Nature Pest, and I got to like 2,000, and then I started doing daily, just daily, anything.
Yeah, there's no way I could do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Here is the deal. You're overthinking it and you're overproducing it. You're putting way too much time into production and zero time into content.
Yeah.
You need to put the time into content. If you can stand in front of a plant and talk about that plant and the bugs that are on that plant, record it, take it into the studio, chop it up, put 2 bumpers on it, upload it, SEO it, you're done in less than an hour a day.
Oh, boy.
I would get them done from my phone using an app, and I would record them, put the bumpers on it right there, not fix the audio or nothing, slap the bumpers on them, upload them to YouTube. When I got home, I would SEO it in 15 minutes. You can literally do this just video alone, a 1-minute video, 2-minute video, 8-minute, it doesn't matter. You could do it in less than an hour. Upload it, SEO'd, done. And then distribution across your social media channels. So that takes about 2.5 hours. One video is 2.5 hours of work for uploading, SEOing, editing, and then distribution across 7 social media platforms.
Good night, man. That's just time I don't have.
Okay, so then you need to figure out what you do have.
So what
Facebook and YouTube is what, because Facebook is working for you.
So let me ask you this: would it be better, instead of having releasing a video weekly during bug season, doing it monthly year round?
You're not going to rank. Either way, you need to put out the content so you can. In other words, right now you literally have to become an authority, but you got to put out enough content that also people want to share with their friends. If you put out a roach control video and everybody in an apartment building in Knoxville shares it with their friends, that's what you want. This guy, look at this guy. They're not going to do it. It's too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
When you show that you got to do baiting and avert and IGR and inspection and monitors and move all this, people are like, let me just call him. So, and reality is you're going to get 10% of the people call you that watch your video locally. 90% are going to attempt it themselves, still fail, and have to call you.
I'll have to figure something out because I'm not where we are opposites. You're a talker. I am not.
But you do great stuff. Your stuff is good.
Because it's scripted. Everything is scripted.
That's why you're taking so long.
Yes.
But you know this info. Get out of your shell. Get out of your shell. Yeah, you know what? I used to script a lot when I first started, but we're talking even when I started preaching. I would script everything out and bullet pointed and all this. Then I started learning how to just make little notes to myself so I didn't come across as I was scripted. Yeah. So the whole idea is for you to get out of your shell. It's really all up here. It's not, you know the stuff. I mean, you passed the ACE exam. You memorized it. And
my wife says that if I would be perfectly happy in a dark room in a cave by myself for the rest of my life.
Because you're a little introverted.
Talking to people is rough.
Right.
So that's why they're scripted. You know?
Right. I would not spend utilize the time that you have in getting the content out versus criticizing yourself to death and overproducing it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make it that much better by the overproduction. Remember, people are looking for, nobody's looking for a long intro when they're looking for how to change that alternator on the car.
Yeah. I've already recognized that. And
yeah.
See, and the problem with that was, I've got all this audio and video editing background stuff going on. And so if you actually close listen to my intro and outro, there's all kinds of cool stuff going on, and I hate not to share it, but right. I do need to shorten it.
Yeah. Sonic branding, it's where it's at. You need to create like something that's memorable, like your flaming, and the way you designed it, that thing is just like really hot. The Phoenix, that thing is branded in your head, dude.
Yeah.
5 seconds and that thing is branded.
But before I forget, you're talking, you do this podcast, the Pestgeek podcast. What's up with the frogs? What's up with the frog?
What's up with the frog?
That's got nothing to do with anything.
Well, it's all about the branding of what I want to project in my, notice I talk a lot about eco-friendly.
Yeah.
And about natural and eco-friendly and holistic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people associate a tree frog with that. And the whole picture of it is I'm thinking 10 years down the line of where this is going to be. So the frog to me came in like, about eco-friendly and stuff. And I was brainstorming and I said, I'll put a frog with a pair of headphones and talking because that's going to be the top of my market. Most people that listen to me are somewhere in there where they're trying to be more eco-friendly. I don't have this massive audience of people because I don't talk about spray and pray. If I talked about spraying bifenthrin and all these chemicals, I would have a huge audience of people listening to me. But if you understand, if you've ever read the book Tribes, I'd rather have a faithful audience that's growing versus a massive audience that the day I say something that they don't like are going to drop off like flies because I hurt their chemical.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go that route. I'm taking the hard road, the road less traveled. I'm like salmon. I swim upstream. I go in opposite direction everybody's going because it's more important to have that niche audience, even from a marketing perspective, because my numbers are steady versus you look at other people's numbers, they're going to be like this. And when I look at analyze their numbers online, because all their data is viewable, you just got to know how to look at it. Then, you can, so we've got a very stable audience that the numbers are constant every week. The more I produce, it grows, and they still listen to it. If I put it out 6 days a week, they'll listen to it 6 days a week. That's my audience. So, but the whole branding thing was that, with tying into Nature Pest, which is my other brand, and being, there. But I would, and then plus, are you sharing your videos on YouTube, on Facebook, or are you uploading them natively?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you upload every single video natively. You get more.
I just started doing that.
Yeah. More love. You're going to get more love than if you shared it. Remember, Facebook wants you to stay on their platform.
Yeah.
They don't want you to leave. So if they have to click out, they're not going to give it as much love as if you uploaded a video and it was permanent as a post. So I would upload the videos, and of course you're blogging. I would be looking at blogging and putting your podcast, your videos embedded into that blog, and then backlinking it from YouTube into the blog to there, because that's going to get you some link juice to your blog.
Yeah, what I've been doing is and I've got so much to do.
I know.
Is the blog on my website. There's a video on YouTube with the same content, same subject, and dropping that into that blog on the website as well.
Right. And then just change it up just slightly, because you're going to get more content, but figure that, and remember, you don't have to outrank everybody in the world when it comes to that blog. You got to outrank everybody in that area, or, and I bring in traffic from all over the world on my blog.
Yeah.
But that's by design. We needed to rank nationally and internationally for a lot of the stuff that I'm thinking. Understand that I got a strategy about the future. I mean, we were thinking about franchising. We're still thinking about franchising. If we don't have brand and we don't have recognition, there's no way anybody's going to pay for anything.
Yeah.
So that's part of the strategy. It's just that everybody thinks we're going to do stuff and we're going to make it in the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. It isn't going to happen. I'm thinking 10 years out, about where we need to be. What is it going to take to be there in the next 10 years? And then what's my competition going to be like at that 10 year? It's going to be harder. So like I said, it's a competitive sport. I have to constantly think about how am I going to outrank my competition constantly. So that's where I would put in. I would set yourself aside. If you can set yourself aside for 1 hour a day and then start working it up to 2 hours a day. See, if you were getting the results from the videos and you were getting the result from the blog, you wouldn't be out in the field because you'd be hiring more people. So it's kind of like that. How do I do a little bit of this, but I program myself for 2 hours a day, cut back on all that, on that production quality, watch how much time you save, and then just talk about, like I just see stuff. Like I'm in that mode now where I'm in content mode. Everything I see is content.
Yeah.
I was out in a yard and I'm doing a consultation on a lawn and I'm walking around with my camera talking about all the problems I see in the landscape. You don't need to script for that. You don't need to script for, here is how you identify a roach nesting site. And you're shooting that video in the back of that cabin and you see how the little antenna's coming out?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're looking for when you're doing an inspection. You're looking for those little antennas.
See, when you looked at my YouTube, what you don't see is the unreleased stuff I've got, probably another 50 videos that I've tagged raw of just stuff that's sitting there waiting for me to do a video on it. Like the roach in the back of the cabinet, deal.
Don't take yourself too seriously, bro. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to, you're going to get more criticism from the people in the industry than you will from the actual customer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what people in the industry think. I'm not in there to impress them.
Yeah, I
I'm in
was
there
waiting to get
my customer.
hammered on that exterminator versus pest control video. I was waiting to get hammered.
But here's the thing you have to do. You have to put all of your videos in that setting to where you have to moderate and approve the release of that comment.
Yeah.
Don't allow anybody to comment on your videos. I mean, I've had people putting porn sites, links.
Yeah.
So the deal is, if you can criticize me and we can have a conversation, but if you're going to be vulgar and you're going to be all that, I'm just going to delete your comment. That's my prerogative. I don't have to let you do that on my channel. So we moderate everything, and I usually go in once a week and I'll release the comments. I don't have time to do it every day. I should do it every day, but I don't. But yeah, man, you've got the knowledge. Take that accreditation you have and use it. How many ACEs are in your market?
I used to be the only one within 100 miles, and then some jerk up in Knoxville got it.
That's good. Compete against him. But he doesn't have a YouTube channel.
So now there's, I think there's 5 or 6 now.
Right, but they're not on YouTube.
No.
There you go. And it doesn't matter what everybody does. It's what am I doing? So you want people to see you in a light that says, this guy is intelligent. This guy knows his stuff. This guy I trust. Versus, do I want to get attention? And is the attention really that important? I'd say you play your strengths.
I don't care about that. I don't want the attention.
Well, you're going to get it either way if you're good.
Yeah, I know.
So that's you can't I'm not like, so I just stick to what I know. Like, I couldn't do a lot of funny stuff because I can't be funny. I just can't be funny on camera for some reason, because my mind is thinking of what I have to say and what I have to communicate. And my brain, look at the size of this head, bro. This thing ain't that big. I mean, I can't do both. And like, I can be spontaneously funny when something funny happens, but I don't know how to be that comical guy. So I don't play that card.
Yeah.
I can do stuff when I'm in that funny mode if I wanted to, and do funny stuff, but I just focus on, like right now, I just took a slide deck. We're making a slide deck, and I've done these before. I did one on houseflies, and I produced 50 housefly facts. Here's the easy content for you. You want scripted. I created 50 slides, okay? I release one of them daily on Facebook. Fact number 1 about houseflies. And this is all entomological stuff. And then I release it, right? So now I release it on Facebook. Then I turn it and I make it into a PowerPoint, and I put it on SlideShare. And I share it. And then I'm going to take each one of those slides now every day and turn it into a 1-minute video, 30-second video, 5-second video. I took 67 Rattus rodent facts about Rattus. You don't think there's 67 facts about Rattus. There's your content.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Aaron with the tip of the day.
But I thought the short videos didn't get love.
Everything's gonna get love. You're judging because you don't know what people in the world are into. You see, so you need the national attention, because that's going to make your channel rank. You only care about the 1% that's going to call you locally.
Yeah.
But you got to give it away free to the 99% so you can get the 1.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is, you want scripted, talk about a 1-minute video about one rodent fact a day, and start releasing a video every day.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm taking notes, is to do some of these shorter form, what I'd previously called uglier videos, more often, and then save the super scripted, overproduced stuff for
once
less
a month.
Often.
Yeah. Get it's more important. Content is king. Consistency and frequency is king. SEOing it right. And like, you can take, like, I'm taking some of my videos now that are like my 1-hour podcast like this, and then I'm chopping them up and putting them on TikTok, 1 minute videos on TikTok from one little, it takes him 1 hour to, a 2-hour video is going to take my tech to go through that video for 2 hours and looking at everything I said and doing editorial work and saying, ooh, this is good. Ooh, this is good. See, the thing is, what I love about him is he has no pest knowledge. He's looking at it from a consumer perspective. I would be interested in this. And then he's chopping up the same video that's 1.5 hours long. He's chopping it up into 6 20-minute pieces and making new YouTube videos from it with just that piece of content in it. So you don't need to create a whole ton of content. You just need to repurpose it and learn how to use it. Especially if you have experience editing video, you can say, oh, dang, that was good. I can take a 1-minute piece and make a separate YouTube video from this and just rebrand it because that's going to get views, likes, and shares.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so it's all about understanding the algorithm and then saying, how do I build a strategy about that? And giving away, bro, put out all your free stuff, start releasing it. And then just take the pricing stuff, take stuff that's permanent, start creating stuff for that market, for other markets to get into. But and then sharing daily on that, sharing that material daily on Facebook. Is there a lot of groups in your area for like community groups?
Actually, that's a funny you mentioned that, because around the time that I opened, a friend of mine wanted me to help admin a local community group. And I wasn't thinking anything about the business. I was just, going to help him out. And it ended up, I think now we have 20% of the county in this group. And for the longest time, that was my major source for calls. And we allow local, small only businesses to advertise in the group.
Right.
So that's been huge. That's really.
I would
huge.
focus on education though.
That's what most of them are. And I made it a point. I always make it a point in my videos to not be, hey, buy my stuff.
Right.
To just be, here's the information. This is what I ran into. This is the truth. I kind of wanted to do focus on the dispelling old wives' tales and things like that. That seemed to often get some people yapping back and forth.
Yeah.
But
I would even if you created a local podcast like you're doing, but think about it this way, just get into a content mode of action where if you go out and do a job and you saw something that, oh, this would make good content. Yeah. Then come back and just talk about it on your podcast. Hey,
I've got a list of things. See, this is my problem. I don't have the time. I've got this huge list of to-do videos, and I've got to do.
Chip away at it, but get out of the reason that's holding you back is you're going, but I need to get into this production, and that's going to take up all my time. Versus, hey, this is what I do. Look, this is my intro. This is how I intro in the field. I just did 3 consultations on a site that I'm taking on a new client for lawn and ornamental. Irrigation system was trashed. The lawn is trashed. He wanted to do trees. So I basically do this. Hey, this is Frank the Pestgeek. Check out these palm trees. That's my intro to the show.
Yeah.
And then I talk about what's going on with that palm tree. And then I'll turn back around and say, hey, I hope you like this video. If you have, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, subscribe below, and share it with your friends. That's it. Every single video is exactly the same way. Like my intros are that short, and then I put bumpers on them with the advertising, with my brand. And then recording it and putting that together in a studio takes 5 minutes. I do audio. What are you using? Adobe Premiere?
Yeah.
All right. I use podcast setting for everything. And then I check out a little denoising. I don't overcorrect my videos for audio quality because nobody's expecting that. It takes me less than 15 minutes to produce every video that I do because I literally am talking my way through what I'm seeing, and that's the experience. I'm pointing things out as I see them. I don't have to create the content. Nature created the content for me.
Yeah, that's a nightmare for me. That's like putting me, way out of my wheelhouse coming from the studio where every little teeny weeny thing is scrutinized. To be
Nobody
perfect.
cares.
And I know that. That's just my personality.
Yeah, and here we had a national, we had a local show that went international that we were producing. The funny part was when they said, bro, who's your camera people and how many crews you have, they didn't understand that these were 13 and 15-year-olds doing camera work.
Yeah.
And this show was nominated because we could fix a lot of things in post. Now that I stopped judging everything because I come from that world too, where, hey, this needs to be, and it needed to be exactly 59. It needed to be at exactly 49 minutes and 39 seconds because they had to put all the advertising. And, I get it. But on YouTube, that overproduction actually turns people off. It's like, what are you trying to prove? It's almost like, I just want the info. Just give me the info. It's like fast food. I just want my fast food now. I don't care what the color of the bag is. I just want it. So yeah, bro, it's you're going to get a lot more productive getting past all that. And just, like I said it to podcast. I tweak it a little bit. I do a little bit of, if there's no reverb to mess with, and just get that. And I use, here's people are like, bro, how do you get your audio on the phone? Here's how I do it. I cup my phone like this, and the camera's pointing that way, and I'm talking like this, and it's blocking out all the air, and and it sounds bassy and everything. That's how I record everything in the field when I'm doing like this. You see me? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be that great. I got a $69 microphone that I attached to this thing, the Video Mic Me, and has the for wind, and I'm shooting all this stuff. And wind is like, oh, but in the beach I can't shoot because, and how many cigars have you seen me smoke on the beach on a windy day? And you can't hear a darn bit of wind. So yeah, man, it's about getting the content. I would be looking at, if you're looking into getting into other markets, start getting into those groups, start, teaching people. Exclusion. I find when you think about it, it's a 1-minute video that you found a hole in the wall. Hey, you see this hole right here? Look how your finger fits through there. Yep. A rat's going to get through there.
Yeah.
If you caulk it, you seal it, and you don't even have to show it caulked and sealed. If you just seal this and you fill it up with cement or whatever, and you fix this, you're going to stop a rat from coming into your house. Now think about, you got 50 rat videos like that, micro content, 50 little rat videos about 50 ways rodents got in your house. And you do one for the siding, and you do one for the water spigot, and you do one for the garage, and you do one. And now you have 100 pieces of content that people are watching. And then you make sure you card them and you do all that correctly to another video that, hey, if you like this video, this one's related to it, check this one out. And that's it. That's just, but I'm in content mode all day. I mean, everything to me is content. Everything I look at is content. There's no other way so once you start getting into that mind frame, it just becomes so much easier where you don't judge it anymore. You're like, it's kind of like when you had kids. You have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, how many do you have?
2.
All right. You remember the first one was like, don't touch that and sterilize everything. And then by the time you got the second one, it was like, the first one, you're like, oh my God, he's made from glass. And then the second one is like, the first one didn't. I forget that. That was too much work.
They bounce.
That's it. That's how I look at it. It's like, people are like, aren't you afraid you're going to get criticized? I don't care. My skin is very thick. It doesn't bother me at all. And I'm helping more people than the one guy whose miserable life, who, His wife left him. The kid left him. The dog won't even talk to him. And, you know, his life is just miserable. He wants somebody to critique. I can't help it. So to me, it's about, I'll just give you an example of what I see and why I want to do what I want to do. I just posted on Facebook and in my page and in all the groups, a scenario on a label.
Yep.
I've got 2 answers. That's scary.
Well, now you did one before too.
I just finished posting one this week about here's what the label says.
Yeah.
The label says you can fog this and you got to turn off the air conditioning system. Okay. When you read the SDS says you can use it outside or in well-ventilated areas.
Okay.
So who's right? Because it says nothing about PPE, and then it says if you're going to use it, the SDS says if you're going to use it in a non-ventilated area, you got to wear a NIOSH respirator. The label says nothing about it on the PPE.
I look at labels and SDS as like proverbs. You know, it's here's what you have to do. Here's a suggestion, but use your daggum head.
Well, actually, you can't. Not according to the SDS, because if you have an employee, it says on the first aid, if the person faints, you need to take them out to fresh air.
Well, then it wasn't ventilated.
Huh?
Then it wasn't ventilated. They didn't have their PPE on.
But there's no PPE requirement on the label. Only for handlers. On the label, only handlers must wear gloves and long sleeve shirts, not applicators. It says handlers. Mixers.
Is this a newer product?
It's a product that's on the market. It's been around a long time. I use it extensively.
That sounds like a EPA brain fart.
Well, it says nothing about respirator. I searched that entire label. It says you must shut off, if you're going to fog indoor with it, you got to shut off the air conditioning system.
Yeah.
The SDS says you can only use it outside or in well-ventilated areas. If you're going to use it in non-ventilated areas, you got to wear a NIOSH respirator.
Okay.
I said, and most of the guys that I talked to says, well, the SDS is only for if you have a spill and for first responders.
No, but you're right. That information should be on label, not just on SDS.
Right. So my question was, what do you do? The answer was from 2 people. You asked your ag department. No, you don't.
No.
You're supposed to interpret it. Here's what and I'm going to do an entire teaching on this because I realize the industry doesn't know why, because 95% of the guys that are listening to me are solo operators. They don't have employees. Therefore, they don't have to abide by OSHA because they don't have a technician. So they feel they don't have to read the SDS because that's only if I have a spill. No, that's under OSHA.
Yeah.
And if you have an employee, that's about employee safety, and that's HCS, and that's, you have to comply with that. They had no answer. But if I would have asked about bifenthrin, I would have got 150 replies. That is scary. A lot of what I do is we need better. We have done a very, very bad job of training the industry. Why? Because every time you go to a CEU training, anybody always talks about the label and how to apply it and what it kills and how you're going to control it and how you're going to do a crack and crevice, and the manufacturer's only telling you about their product.
Preach it, brother.
And you've never sat through an SDS training until you've had to because you're an employee. Because I asked
video
people
on that.
You think you need SDS training? And people are like, no, I don't need SDS because that's only, and I don't have employees. I don't have to abide by that. Well, who's going to drag you out of that unit? When you, because it says it causes, on the SDS, it says it causes drowsiness.
It's flammable whether you read the thing or not.
Yeah. And it causes drowsiness. And and you can't use it. So I got to shut off the ventilation. And here it tells me I got to wear a respirator, but I've never read the SDS. I've only read the label. I don't have to do a darn thing according to the label, except pass out and die.
You know, labels are boring, but SDSs are extra boring. I mean,
no, they can give you a freaking heart attack if you're the wrong guy. I mean, think about it. You got to put a technician when you hire him, mandatory through SDS training, because he has to take the HCS hazardous safety training. It's mandated now. You have to take it.
Really?
And you don't put a guy through it and he doesn't read his SDS and he doesn't understand it. And now you hired him and you didn't buy workman's compensation insurance.
See, that's another reason why I'm such a nicest fanboy. If anytime you cannot download just an SDS or a label, they're the same.
You got to do both.
It's the same file.
Yep, you got to do both. You get both. But when you leave the manufacturer, most of the time you don't leave there with an SDS when you go buy it. They have to give you an SDS if you're going to transport it. Because now DOT is involved and OSHA's involved. And you got to leave that warehouse with an SDS. The label is on the package. But here's what everybody will argue me about. And I'm going to prove everybody wrong because I like doing that. But it says on every label, this particular label doesn't say it. It says it is a violation of federal law to use this product inconsistent with what?
It's labeling.
It's labeling. It does not say label. The federal law says labeling.
Which includes the label, the SDS, the whatever's printed on the package.
Right. So if you say I only have to follow the label, you're absolutely wrong, because the SDS and FIFRA put out a statement saying the SDS, MSDS, is part of the labeling.
It never occurred to me that somebody would think they were separate.
You know how many people think they're separate? I put out several posts on this. They say, no, I don't have to. I only have to follow the label on application. But part of that respirator was on the SDS. It wasn't on the label. And here's the funny part. That statement, because the product is FIFRA exempt, did not say it is a federal violation of federal law to use it inconsistent with his labeling. But if you have an employee and he would have gone in there and he would have applied it, he would have been violating OSHA law.
Yeah.
Because he didn't wear his respirator in an enclosed environment where the system was off. Because
to be fair, all the use and usage instructions and all that stuff should live on the label, not on the SDS.
It should. And there's part number 12 through 15 that covers FIFRA, yet it wasn't on there.
Is this 25B?
It's a 25B product.
Well, that's why the EPA just went, whatever.
Well, they didn't have to, right? But here's the problem. If you're an applicator and you're a solo operator, you're not under OSHA. If you want to pass out, that's on you. You can't take that risk when you have an employee.
Yeah.
Because now you said, well, I'm exempt from getting workman's comp. Well, you might be exempt. However, you still have a liability. If that employee gets injured, you're buying the bill.
If it were only so simple.
If it was only so simple. And then the problem is we have this simplistic view from a lot of people. Like I said, I put that out in all the groups. I got 2 responses. That's scary.
See, I've not seen it. Maybe your SEO stinks.
Yeah, my SEO. I'm going to show it to you. Hold on a second. Look, hold on. I'm going to get it for you right now. Hold on a second.
I can probably find it if I look you up directly.
Look up me. I think I haven't posted anything since that. I think
it's under Pestgeeks or you?
No, it's under both. I put it under both. Hold on a second. I'm going to go off camera here. Let me see if I find it. Hold on. I'm going to search it real quick.
You are a posting full on this thing, man. I'm telling you.
I posted it. Where is it? Oh, no, not there. Okay, here we go. Let me share this with everybody on the screen. So everybody, this is the question. Share screen. Share. All right, I'm going to move you over here to the side. Question regarding product application. Here's what it says. This product is exempt from registration with FIFRA, Federal Environmental Protection Agency, under FIFRA Section 25B. It does not have a statement on the label. It is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with the labeling. Now, here's what the EPA says. The EPA says this PR notice update clarifies EPA's determination in PR notice 9241 that material safety data sheets, MSDS, also referred to as SDS, that accompanies a pesticide product is considered part of the pesticide labeling, but may accompany a pesticide product without notification to the approval of the agency. Such labeling is consistent with the 40 CFR Part 156 labeling requirements. It is part of the labeling. Is the label the law for this product? How will you have your technician apply this product to comply with the label? Does the tech follow the SDS or the label on the PPE? Did the tech read the SDS before applying? Here's what it says for fogging. The label says closed, shut off, air conditioning, ventilation equipment. The SDS says use only outdoors or in well-ventilated areas. So which one do you follow? Because you got, if you're a tech, I didn't say an owner, I said a tech, because SDS falls under OSHA. The PPE on the label says protective personal equipment handling concentrates are required. So if I handle the concentrate and I mix it, I can give it to a technician to apply. He doesn't have to wear PPE. Chemical resistant gloves, protective eyewear if I'm handling the concentrate. The SDS says hand protection, wear chemically resistant gloves, eye protection, chemical goggles, or face shield, body protection. It is recommended for handlers to wear appropriate clothing to prevent skin contact involving long sleeve shirt, socks. Respiratory protection in case of insufficient ventilation, use NIOSH approved respirator. If you have an enclosed house with the air conditioning off, where the windows are closed, that's not well ventilated. And I got three likes and 5 comments. And this is the list of exempt minimum ingredients. The label is just a suggestion.
Yeah, I just
the
read
label.
that.
The label is a suggestion, but it's not not on the SDS when you have an employee and he passes out and you have to rush him to the hospital.
See, here's the problem with, well, one problem with 25B is, so it's grass. They say it's grass.
Right.
Well, that doesn't mean it's safe. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do XYZ with it. So I'm okay with having 25B existing, but I still think it needs a label.
I use a tar load of 25B. This is why I'm familiar with this label. I would never apply this product. I always said in all my programs, you've heard it, never apply a 25B product indoors because of allergens. You can trigger. Here's another one. Okay, the label is the law. The label is the law. The SDS does not supersede the label on the product. Only the label is approved by the EPA. The SES technical data provided by the manufacturer. You need to read the law again because you got it wrong. So now you have an employee and you get it wrong because you got it wrong. But yet that was a factual statement. That's not an opinion.
Well, the fact that it's 25B, the label isn't approved by the EPA, right?
Well, the label is not the law. The labeling is the law. Here's why. Let me show you. Let me show you.
You're getting into semantics now, brother.
No, the labeling is not semantic. This is a legal document.
No, I agree. I'm just poking you.
Yeah. So when you tell me 5 answers out of 3,000, 4,000 people I have following me, if I would have asked a question, but I asked here how I decide what I'm going to teach and what I'm going to talk about. If I would talk about everything that's popular, I would have a huge audience.
Yeah.
But because I talk about the things that are important, most people don't want to listen to it.
You know what this issue right here, this specific issue, comes down to government stupidity. At the end of the day, you know, we've got different groups of entities that have different defined responsibilities, and they don't always talk well with each other.
Yeah, but here's the problem, dude. This is where my beef has been for the last 15 years, where I've been on taking so many courses. And how is it that you're in this 15 years, 20 years, and you still don't understand it? You're still confused about it because after 15 years, you're still a solo operator. But here's what it says. This is from the EPA, right? There it is right there. In other words, the label is the law. We quote that, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now look at the bottom of the website. What's the
25B
difference?
or not?
What's the difference? In these web pages, we have used the term label for simplicity.
No.
Please read and include other materials that are considered labeling.
Yeah. Let me ask, how many pest control technicians do you think have been on this website besides you and me?
Nobody, because everybody thinks that this is baloney. And, you know, as long as I follow the label, because the label is the law, the label is the law. No, it's used for simplicity. The actual law reads with its labeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Even consumer products say that.
Right. But it's the labeling that we're responsible for, not just the label.
You know, I'll tell you what, when my technician got certified, there was a question on his exam for certification that was a question: what is included in labeling?
Yeah.
And it was what's written on the bottle, the label, the SDS, you know, grandma's bean recipe, you know.
Right.
And that's maybe they've kind of recognized there's an issue there.
Well, the state always recognizes there's an issue. The problem is, where has all the technical training come from for the last 50 years? I mean, how many actual university training have you gone to by a university or by the state that wasn't done by a supplier, a manufacturer, or distributor, and all we talked about was the application of the product?
Probably, and then
when
20,
we want to
20%.
We want to skim over it because it's boring. It doesn't really fit the narrative.
Yeah.
And so this is why you see me having the outlook I have. I said, we need to educate the whole world on what real pest control is, not just spraying and praying, because this is what everybody thinks it is. How are you going to attract the best people in the world when everybody thinks you walk around with a B&G to make $15 an hour?
Because that's what most people want to do, is give me my bottle of concentrate, give me my B&G,
right.
Let me go get Miss Jones, and so I can go home.
Right. And that is, and the customer thinks that too.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why you see me doing, that's why you see me so fanatical about environmental and about, you know, eco green and what green is and what IPM is and what all this is, because I mean, I'll put a debate on what IPM is and 50% of people say that's not IPM and 50% says you can't do IPM at all.
Oh boy.
And you can't do this. And so how can 50% be right and 50% be wrong? Like when I put similar questions out about rodenticides, how can 50% get the label wrong and tell me they're right when I'm showing them a label that says what you're telling me is wrong, but the label is the law, right? How can 50% get it wrong and 50% get it right? Somebody's violating the law. So what else you got, bro? What else is going down in your life?
It's starting to pick up hardcore. Last couple days, we had about a week of rain, and then now the sun's out, so the phone starts ringing. So it's keeping it's
What
time to start keeping up.
what bug problems are you having like calls on now? Right. What are people calling on?
Right now, the biggest thing is odorous house ants,
Okay,
because my technician, he's green as green can be, and I'm still training him.
that's a tough
Um,
ant.
so he's struggling with odorous house ants, but my thing is I've got to find that happy medium between going out there and coaching and watching and teaching versus you screwed it up, figure it out, because that's the best way to learn. I can't step in every time and rescue him with, oh well, you need to do this, you need to do that. I've got to
Right.
find that happy medium. He does, man, he's a German roach slayer. I
Right.
mean, he's got some reason that clicked and he's good to go. And the rest of it is no issues. But right now it's all about odorous house ants.
All right. So we've got a cousin, because that's Tapenoma Cecil, correct?
Man, that should be. I don't ever
All right.
study the
All right.
taxonomy names.
Okay, so you got odorous OHA, and we've got over here Tapenoma melacephalum, which is the ghost ant.
Yeah, which
Same,
we don't have.
right? Same genus. How is it that you found that you're dealing with those ants? Let's talk about that. How are you dealing with them over there?
Well, these little boogers, man, they move their nest daily, so that can. This year, I'm finding more in walls, where in the past 20 years, I may find one or two a year that would be in a wall.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, this year, I'm finding them more and more in walls. So
Interesting.
we're taking plates off and dusting more in the walls and things like that. Here with odorous, you've got to flip. Man, people love their landscaping silliness and the mulch. You got to have mulch because that's what the Joneses
Right.
do. So we all got to have mulch. We got to have these pretty little stones. So you got to flip it all over. And I don't know what people's affinity for running ivy up the side of their house. I'd like to choke every one of them.
I got it here in the gables, man. People put this ivy up on the wall. Yeah.
So with odorous house ants here, it's all on the table. They could be anywhere.
Right.
So you just gotta. I mean, you got to be thorough.
Right.
But as a new technician, he was falling into that. Well, I used this and it didn't work. So what do I need to use next? You're thinking about this totally wrong.
Right.
You're focusing on the chemical, and I'm telling you, you probably didn't get the previous one where it needed to be, or
Right.
enough of it, or something to that effect, or whatever. The biggest one of the biggest problems here is when you go in and you eliminate them. You eliminate them because they're good to go for a month, and then you have them show up right at the same time, and of course the customer thinks it's the same ants. Well, you didn't fix. No, what happened is they're moving into the old nests and the old holes and old galleries and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And around here, everybody wants to put taro out on their windowsill.
Right. So they're bringing them in.
Yes. Oh my Lord. And they're like, well, that worked. Well, then why am I here? If what you did worked, then why are we even having a conversation right now?
Yeah, people get freaked out all the time because I tell them I use bait indoor, but I never put the bait in the windows. We're usually dealing it in the interior of the house where we're finding those nests, like in the kitchen or in islands. They're interior. They're already there. My suspicion is on a lot of homes here in Florida, which I can't prove it, that they're actually getting in just in a lot of places, just like termites get in. They're finding that void in the foundation somewhere, and especially in the inside of the home, they're making nests, I guess, underneath the structure because there's no way to get there. We never see a trail.
Mm-hmm.
We're spraying all of those perimeters and entries, and how come she's got ants in that kitchen and there's never a trail anywhere on the outside near that kitchen window? Anywhere.
Slab.
it's the slab, and they're getting in just like termites. And we might start using the same process where we're going to foam void the back of that kitchen wall void with the same thing, like either a premise or a termidor or something, to get that residual in there somehow, to stop it. It's gotten better. Are you finding that? What is it that you're doing? Walk to me through your. So I'm going to compare, because I've never had to talk to anybody about odorous house ant, how they're actually. I mean, I read all the literature, and I've seen all the comments on Facebook. But what we do here is on every initial, because that ant is so difficult to control and we can't figure out always where it is, and we got so many shrubs and everything, we're using a fipronil application.
If it's a
every
bad
time.
one, see, most of the time we go in and we'll do our, pyrethroid around the perimeter, your normal, just 3-month prevention product,
Right.
Put some bait on the outside of that perimeter, crack and crevice inside. Most of the time we get them to 0 and we can maintain it. Now, if we identify it as a bad one, or on the initial inspection, the cells, we know it's bad, where, we may move to fipronil, and maybe a couple different types of granular bait on the outside of that, and move to dusting wall voids.
Right. What are you using for those wall voids? What are you preferring?
Most of the, for the odorous house ants, most of the time, tempo.
Okay, so you're using tempo, and you don't find that they're fragmenting or moving with the tempo dust?
And that kind of goes into the next subject, is the other big ant that we're having right now that's just exploding even more and more, is fire ants. Now, we've had them for a while here.
Is that a native fire ant, or is that imported? Red imported?
It's red imported.
Red imported, okay.
So, for years and years and years, we've had them in the yard. We treat the whole yard, and you're good to go for a year or more. One of the ones we're fighting with right now is where there's nothing in the yard. There's no mounds. There's no nothing. There is some drainage issues, but they've got fire ants inside.
Yep, I've seen that a couple of times.
But there's nothing outside. Nothing. So the tempo did separate them a little bit and move them around. So we've kind of changed strategies, mostly to bait. But I'll tell you what's, and maybe this is just a local thing here, but there's a builder here locally that's putting up 1 million houses a day. And he's got this design where the brick, you've got normal brick on the bottom,
okay,
up about maybe a foot. And then he puts a brick at an angle going towards the house. And then siding above that. So the first thing us bug geeks think is, oh my gosh, there's a void right here.
Right.
And every single one of those houses, I have the exact, now most of them, I mean, we get them to 0, but we have the same problem. We have issues with OCCs, occasional invaders, spiders, earwigs, ground beetles, things inside the house, but nothing outside. And I just about guarantee you, they're all living in that void behind that decorative brick thing that they're doing. That's their calling.
Right. And did they put any weeping holes or anything, or it's just
well, it's at the corners, their lack of quality building.
Right.
A lot of times I can get in there and get some material back in there. So it depends on the house. They build 30 at a time,
Right.
And they're all exactly, they're McMansion type things.
Have you gone there in pre-construction and see how it's being put together?
Yes, and that's what it is. I mean, it's just, you've got your main frame wall, and then you've got that void. And the problem is there's no access to it. There's no purpose for that void. It's just decorative. and it's just causing all kinds of bug issues.
And you can't figure out how to get the product in there without
Well,
messing it up?
it depends on how, was that a Friday house or a Monday house? I mean, if it was a Monday house, I'm not getting in there.
Right.
I'm not. But if it's a Friday house, I can probably find some places to get some material in there, so it's just been one challenge.
And then the next thing would be the next thing would be maybe on those types of homes, since it's an outer wall, putting some product into the actual, like, I mean, we've done it here where we've had to treat in the past with big-headed ant. It was so big we had to drill holes through the drywall on the inside and put the dust along the entire wall.
I've actually had to do that on the fire ant one. Most of them we can get everything we got, all the cracks and stuff that we can find, and then maybe take some plates off on the interior side of the wall. Most of the time that gets us to zero. But those are always, if I see that design on the house, the price just jumped.
Right.
I mean,
because you got to do all that work. Yeah. What I've done is I got away completely because we got so many ants here. I mean, like right now, my guy was I'll deal with that issue that you said about your technician. We've got crazy ant, white-footed ant, big-headed ant. We'll get some fire ant. We've got ghost ant, and we have, white-footed. And yeah, there we go. 6 ants that we deal with on a regular. Sometimes we'll go to a house and they have all 5. That's how bad our ant problems are. So my guy, for the second time in his life, in his career, he ran into a white-footed ant. Now, are you familiar at all with white-footed ant? Because they're really
we don't have them here. So
so here's the funny part about that ant. It tends to go up, and it makes mega colonies, but inside the structure, up to 10 million.
Oh joy!
Right. So he found one once, and he's like, "Oh, it's a crazy ant, but it's walking in rows." And I said, "Send me a picture of that." And he sends me a picture and says, "That ain't a crazy ant. You've got a white-footed ant. You need to look up in that corner of that attic and watch him coming out, and he's going out to feed, and he'll find a plant that usually has aphids or something, and he'll be feeding off those plants, taking the nutrients inside. What we have to do is we got to take a whole roll of liquid gel.
A plant that's touching the house or something they got inside?
The plant is touching the house. The nest is inside. Now, it's funny with this ant because this particular ant will make the trail, hundreds of them. He found a little short one. And I said, just bait the trail. If that's the only trail you find in the house, just bait that whole trail. Literally, we put a whole row of liquid bait.
Mm-hmm.
Let them feed because there's millions of ants in there. And I says, go back. You can go back the next day and if you got most of the ants killed or not, or go back in 7 days. And they'll usually bridge and go up on the plant and suck on the honeydew and all that. So we usually will have to spray those and get those honeydew in there. But he treated and he knocked it out. And he said, "Oh, this is a breeze, right?" So he got one call, which talking about how do I rescue my guys. And he says, "Hey, I found, these ants again at this house. So I did what you said. I baited, right? Because it goes back the next week. He's still having ants, but I found them in the pot. So I baited the line and I baited the pot. So it goes back the following week. I still got ants, but they're almost all gone. Okay, that's it.
I give them just bait it all to begin with.
Well, I give them 3 strikes and you're out, and then I got to get involved.
Yeah, that's
my rule of thumb. If you haven't solved it in 3 shots, you had 3 shots. He says, "No, but they're almost gone. There's no need for you to go." And I says, "No, I got to go." That's my rule. So I go out there and we start looking throughout the whole house, and there's this line from the floor, from the pot going up, but the pot was up against the wall. I look and it says, "What do you see?" There's aphids all over. Aphids and mealybugs all over this plant.
Okay.
You separate the plant from the wall, the pot. Okay.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, I did that. They must have pushed it back. Yeah. But now look at where that trail is going. It's going all the way up in a little hole that big. And you've got 300, 400, 500, 600 ants trailing back and forth. I said, how did you bait this? This is like I did last time. I just put a little roll of bait. You put about that much. No. You don't understand.
On the wall?
You got to do it on the wall. You got no choice with this ant. There's no easy way. You can fipronil this all you want, and it ain't gonna kill them. So we take this, we start out at the bottom of the floor, and we're going up this wall with a row of bait, gel bait. Always get your ladder, and we're going to take it all the way up there. So we use Thickwood because Thickwood costs us $2 to refill that thing. If he had to use Quantum, I said, bro, that's $30 worth of bait you're going to use in this house.
Yeah.
So I said, get your ladder, bait it all the way up. He's never seen this before because until now, he's actually never seen a white-footed ant in a year and a half he's been with me. First time. They used to be, when I started, it was every other call that I ever got back in 2009 was a white-footed ant problem. They seem to have tapered off. I saw them in West Palm Beach last year, 6 months ago. Big time swarms. I'd never seen that before. I said, oh, they're going to come back. Because, pests do that. You'll have 10 years and then you'll suddenly, something changed in the weather and they're back. So now we start walking around the house. Oh, there's one. Follow that one. Well, these trails will go literally from the ground, go up, go across the entire soffit, and it'll go around the house for 20, 30, 50 feet that you have to trail. That's how big how big that colony inside is based on how long that trail is and how far they're going. And there's like 2 million ants. So I said, you start baiting here, start going up, get your ladder, start going up here, baiting all this all the way across.
Yeah, OHAs will do that too.
We'll go around the back. They got these shrubs now up against the wall. And I said, did you pull the shrub away from the wall to see where the ants are? And we showed up. All these colonies are right there feeding on all the aphids.
Yeah.
So now we bait this whole thing again. And he's a plant. So he wasted about 2 ounces, 3 ounces of bait. He says, bro, that much bait. I was afraid to use that much. And you get mad at me for wasting all that bait. It says, that's how you have to do it. And you got to do it. And there's nothing you can do. And then I said, now you're going to go back and we're going to spray those shrubs down with Samari. Got to get all that aphids down and we got to contaminate all that sooty mold because now all that honeydew becomes bait when you spray it with Samari. And I said, spray it all down and then come back on Monday and see what you find. He just went back on Monday. He says, bro, they're all gone. But that could be 10 million in an attic. So that's what I let him. I know what he's dealing with. I want him to go because if I bailed him out, he would have thought it was easy. I intentionally let him go through that because it wasn't a threat to the customer. The customer wasn't complaining. They were all outside. It wasn't a deal. I let him go through it and says, okay, you haven't done it. Let me go in. Now he knows when he sees that next time how far he has to search. But we found 3 nests. We found one on the front, one on the side, and one on the back.
Yeah.
And the reason I go with all non-repellents is because we have to use so many times, we have to use a combination of bait and liquid. And we have to put gel up against the house because of our species that I would, if I used a pyrethroid, we just make a mess. And a pyrethroid is never going to solve that problem. And by the way, neither is fipronil. I've done the complete fipronil, killed the entire thing, go back the next day, the trail's back out again.
Yeah.
And here's what's funny. There's no trophallaxis with this ant.
What?
There ain't none.
Really?
This is the weird part because people think, why are you using bait? Bait won't work because there's no trophallaxis. I said, what you don't understand is I just killed all of their workers. All that brood's going to starve. So that's how I kill the colony.
Even with the queen, there's no trophallaxis?
It is if it gets to her.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's not going to happen with the immatures. It's not going to take it to the larvae.
Interesting.
And so the way that's why I got to put, so I'll put that out and you will see 2 million. I got photos of 2 million ants
That's also why you need a higher volume of bait.
And I found that out just in 2009. The first study was published in 2010. University of Florida published, which said gel bait is the number one. And I still have to this day people arguing with me, no, fipronil. I said, it'll still never work. Go back and you'll see that trail. If we've had, and then the funny part is it will go up to a second story and then start coming out through the bathroom vents. And people are like, I got ants in the bathroom in the second story. That's usually white-footed. So you have to go all the way and figure out how high you can get to bait that. And then it's going in through the vent sometimes. And sometimes I've had them come, they'll actually trail on the outside, go down the stack and get into the bathroom through the stack.
So you're not having staining on the walls when you're just putting thickwood on?
They will completely eat everything. You will go back the next day and it's completely cleaned. There's nothing there. Nothing, like a bone.
I'm staying in Tennessee, man.
Yeah,
I ain't
bro.
coming to Florida.
So that's one of the things I said. I let them. So when a roach failure happens and they haven't controlled it in 3 shots, he missed something. He will miss something, and it's usually, when the biggest roach problems we have, it isn't the heavy infestations. It's when it's a really light infestation that he decides I'm not going to put the bait everywhere I'm supposed to.
Yep.
And I'm not going to follow the entire protocol because it's such a light infestation, and it always bites them in the butt, where the customer's calling a month later still, I still got roaches, but it wasn't that much. And I said, you didn't follow the protocol. So those are the issues, bro. I'd be interested if you moved away. Like what granular bait have you found works for OHA? Because I found that for ghost ant here, the cousin, no granular bait works. Only liquid bait.
My main, now I'm hardcore in the wintertime during treatments to every house gets NIBAND. Every house. Especially, dead of winter. People look at me cross-eyed, but I'll tell you, I did something when I worked for another company. I had so much trouble with OHAs, and they had a protocol where they do a pyrethroid for 3 months, and they do Termidor for 3 months, and then they do a different, and then back 3 and 3. So you ended up 6 months out of the year using Termidor. Well, the first problem I absolutely hated is when we were in those 2-3 month groups of Termidor, the spiders went bonkers, and we got calls for spiders. I hated Termidor, hated it. So, and I got to thinking, so I tried something, and I tracked everything, and most people don't believe me, but I swear to you it's true. That entire winter, I NIBAND every stinking house in the dead of winter. That next season, I had 0 callbacks for odorous house ants.
Interesting.
0. Now that's I've only hit that 0 one time. Obviously that's a freak number, but so from then on, instead of focusing on, because the company that I was with at the time, the guys were like, oh, well, NIBAND, that's the bee's knees. And, and they were getting lazy and relying on the product. So I went the opposite way, and, NIBAND in the wintertime. Now, once you get it here in Tennessee, once you get into the dead of summer and the ants are established, especially if you get a new start in the middle of the season,
right?
You're not good. I don't care how much NIBAND or thickwood or anything you throw at it, you ain't gonna fix it in a bad one, because it's already established. You have to go.
You have to work at it
and play the numbers game, and then once you get it to a decent level, you can start maintaining with bait. They're around here with fipronil and odorous house ants. When it works, it's great,
and when it doesn't,
but when it doesn't, it gets ugly really quick.
Yeah. And what gel bait are you using inside, like to find, if you find those nests, do you find gel bait is working well or not?
I do not bait inside, period.
Okay.
Now, the reason is I have found that when we bait inside for ants, except for Pharaoh.
Okay.
I mean, you got to bait for those, no matter how you cut it. Not Pharaoh. Why is my brain not working this morning? Maybe it is. Anyway,
It'll come to you.
We'll figure that out later. Anyway, there's one here you have to bait for no matter what. That's the only thing you can do. Blah blah blah. Anyway, but when you bait in for, especially for odorous house ants, or sometimes we have pavement ants or LBAs, little black ants.
Okay.
Do you have those there?
Not really. I mean, they're little black ants have been spotted, but not really.
We don't see them that much. But if you put bait, especially liquid, inside, it's a nightmare, and they continue to show up season after season in that same
because
area.
you're drawing them in that case. It's none of the ants we have that issue. Once we basically deal with them outside, like I said, we'll use that fipronil initial. I'm trying to get away from fipronil because I hate it. I don't like you. I've never liked using it. It just doesn't go with our brand. We're going with that. We're doing now a testing with Samari. So we tested it at the end of the season. We had great results. Then we moved to Barracor, which is the only pyrethroid I use in the winter. But again, our winters are like 85 degrees. It's just the temperature drops to like 60 sometimes, and that's it. Yeah, 60. Yeah, I know, right? And so we have a less pressure. We're using a reduced risk product with a lower amount of pyrethroid in it, so we don't cause, because we will make a mess with these ants here in Florida.
Yeah. And
then we do the pyrethroid. Now we're going to switch over to Samari again in the summer, and seeing how that goes this summer, especially because our biggest, I mean, if I get literally out of all the ant calls I get right now, way over 50% of those calls are ghost ant.
Wow.
And that's how rampant it is. And then when we got a house that has a crawl space with ghost ant, and that, you got dirt floor, they're making their nest all over there, and we're not crawling in a crawl space to treat for it. So we're thinking about now dusting it or fogging those crawl spaces with a product that we could fog there that wouldn't cause repellency, because these things fragment like you would not believe. They will fragment. They will move.
Are they native where you are?
They're not native. They're all the ant species that we have. Most people don't know this. Florida has the largest fauna of ants in the country. We've got 200 species of ants. 50 are exotic. All of these ants, none of them are native. They're all invasive exotic species. And the reason they like it is for a reason everybody likes Miami. It's warm, it's humid. They got everything they need. We've got 2 protocols. We got Fort Lauderdale. We got 2 international airports.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 80% of the perishable goods that come into the country will come in through Florida. I think something like 50% of the flowers come in through Florida. We get literally more than 1 insect a month now, new in Florida. Most of it affects agriculture. This is not so many ants, but yeah, man, it's tough down here when you're testing all this and you're like trying to create a protocol for 5 different species of ants. What's actually going to work? And bro, it's like, it's fun for me because I enjoy it. The techs don't like it. They don't like testing. They want to know a sure thing. They don't want to take the risk and get screamed at. Me, I'm like, I can temper it.
Well, I love testing, but when I do testing, like I'm getting ready to we talked about final feed. I've got 2 customers on the ready to go, but I do it for free.
Right.
Tell them, look,
we do the same thing.
If it doesn't work, hey, it was free.
Right.
Tough noogies.
Let me tell you something. It works, bro. The final feed down here, we've got a lot of species of mosquitoes, and it works just about for every species.
I've got to, I'm sure it does. And I've looked at everything, and I'm excited about it. I got to get my feet wet before I charge.
Have you used Max Force Fly Spot Bait?
Yes.
Okay. It goes on the same way. It just goes on plants.
Yeah.
Spot here, take 2 steps, wet that whole spot, take another 2 steps.
Well, see, we really don't have mosquitoes right now.
Right.
I'd say within a week or two, where they'll start kicking pretty hard. The one of my customers previously had told, just because of where he is and what he's got going on, there's no way I could do your traditional mister blower treatment there. So I've thought of him, as the perfect one, because when I'm treating his house, I'm getting lit up, and they usually don't like me.
Right.
I've got too much pyrethroid running through my blood at this point for them to munch on me. But they just tear me up on that one, so I can't wait. I'm itching to get out there and try it.
Yeah, the other thing that we're going to be trying for very difficult accounts, we got waterfront property, we've got properties that have waterfront and sewer systems, storm drains, which the cities have to maintain for mosquito. It gets very complicated very quickly. We're gonna try to incorporate the IntoCare together with the final feed.
Now
we've been using final feed now for over 4 years.
Now, which one's, because there's 2 bucket type ones.
Right.
One's just the glue board and some nasty water. And
right.
The other one's
that's the OV catch, which is from Catchmaster. Okay. They make the final feed.
I've got 2 of those to incorporate with the final feed trial, so I can actually monitor.
Right, and what the thought behind that is, especially with like and I'll probably have to ask Stan on this one again. When I talk to him, the 80s albopictus. If you just catch one of those, you stop 1,000 from breeding. That's the whole mentality. You're not going to catch that many. I tried it. I didn't catch that many, but I didn't catch, the others either, which we have, which is the Culex and the Anopheles. So
maybe your water wasn't funky enough.
Oh man, it was funky. Believe me, it was funky. I made sure it was funky. It was like, whoa, there's what's going on in there, man.
Yeah, the whole what is IPM thing is a mess, and it's because somebody should have stepped in at the very beginning and said, this is what it is, and controlled that narrative.
But heck, the people who write the IPM law can't define it.
That's my point. That is exactly my point, because we had this discussion at one point on, I think it was probably on Facebook, where, okay, is IPM this or that or what, and I've thrown the language IPM out because there's no true definition or no anything.
No, the industry. I got articles. I just finished. I don't know if I did it yet, if I put it out or not, on people who are farmers that say they practice IPM, can't agree on what IPM is. They're confused about it. And this is the farming industry where it came from agriculture. Mm-hmm. What I've done is I explain what we do. And I have people in the industry tell me, you're not doing IPM. I said, dude, that is about as much as IPM as you can do. And I've got every single university that teaches school IPM backing me up saying, yep, that is IPM. I've proven through the documentation that it's IPM. And they'll say no. And then they'll say IPM can't be done because you can't do one part. You can't do it all, and therefore do nothing.
Well, see, all those answers are correct based on that person's definition of what IPM is.
Right. That's the problem.
Because the guy who says, well, you can't do it, it's not reasonable, it's pure crap, by his definition, he's probably right.
Yeah. But he's also the guy that doesn't want to learn, and he wants to just go in with a B&G because it's much easier. So he'll use that as an excuse as it can't be done because I really don't want to learn real insect biology, how to control this. I just want to spray something. And by where I am, my customers expect me to spray everything. So IPM goes out the door anyway.
See, by as much as I hate the government, this is where I think that the EPA should step in and say, this is IPM.
Right.
And this is exactly what it is. And then everything should filter from that.
Well, but
That never happened.
And especially with it's been pretty defined in agriculture. It's just that we get into urban IPM and then we get into industrial IPM. And so those are three different disciplines from agriculture. And then you've got landscape IPM. And this is why you see people like,
dude, that's just another tab. It can't be that hard.
But you see Denny Miller, she got away from the term IPM. It's assessment based.
Because look, people like me who know, because her definition of what she calling it now,
assessment
based. Yeah.
Yeah.
Assessment based. Now I agree with a lot of stuff she has to say, but I think some of the stuff that comes out of her mouth is she's saying it knowing that whoever is paying some grants for her is listening.
Right.
I'm just going to leave it right there.
Yeah, we've got it. Academia has to do a lot of things to please a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unlike me, I don't have to.
However, what she's doing is what my definition of IP is really, really close to what I think the correct definition of IPM is. It's not the no pesticides ever, and we're just going to spray patchouli oil and dance around it.
Right.
It's not that, and it's not just squirting because we're there.
Right.
I think that it's a good thing. IPM is a good thing. It's correct definition of IPM. See, that's the problem. Is most of these conversations concerning IPM surround people talking about different things. You're talking apples and oranges. You're disagreeing, but you're really not.
Yeah.
Because you need to start, and that happens a lot just in life and politics. Let's start with the definition. You're calling this.
Yeah, I think McGovern says it best. IPM is a menu that allows you to choose. I mean, think about it. And here's where people get hung up is on the IPM pyramid. Academia wants you to go and apply the pyramid the way it is. The problem is when you and I get called in, there's a roach problem. There's no exclusion to be done to solve that German roach problem. You got to use the chemical first.
Kill it or I'm calling somebody else.
I mean, you got a roach problem. It's chemical first.
Yeah.
What we decide and how we do it from that point and who does it more eco-friendly, that's a different matter. If you go all bait or if you go bait and crack and crevice or bait and IGR, but you got to start with that chemical.
Well, and then there's the other problem because so many people, they hear the word chemical and you and I know what that means.
Right.
But especially Joe Schmo consumer sees chemical and they're thinking of skull and crossbones and flipper babies.
Yeah.
But, it could be that definition. That's another definition within that IPM discussion that we need to define that make sure that we're talking about the same thing before we can have a meaningful
We got to do
discussion.
so much education to the client. I mean, this is what I do constantly.
Mm-hmm. And because that's why I do the videos. That's why
what I explain to customers is, let me ask you a question. How many guys have you had there spraying that floor with a pesticide, a chemical, and hasn't solved the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Says, well, we've had 2 or 3. I mean, the apartment building, there's one every month. And I said, okay, we're still going to use a chemical. If I used that much gel bait and I use this much gel bait in the entire kitchen and I wipe it all out, didn't I use a whole lot less chemical than that whole spray where your kids are walking? Yeah. Okay. And if I wipe it out, how many times have they been sprayed? I'm going to do it once or twice and I'm going to knock it out. And they're going to still spray every month and still not knock it out.
Yeah.
Is my service greener? Did I contaminate your floor where your kid walks, where your puppy walks? No. I got to educate the customer on every sales call, every single time, every time.
See, I always tell my customers, you didn't look, they start to question how I'm doing things a little different.
Right.
Because I'm not a spray and pray. And I'm like, look, you didn't call me for pest control. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what? It's a good day. I'm going to go buy some pest control. Yes.
Right.
Nobody does that. They go, holy crap, I got this, or mama's raising heck on me.
Right.
We got to get rid of these ants, these roaches. You called me for dead bugs at
right.
the end of the day. If
Right.
if I don't produce that for you, you know, and I tell this is why I don't do many apartments, because I have a video for them, like, just, you know, that I send to them when the apartment place calls me. I send it to them, and it's pretty harsh. It
Right.
says, listen, this is a partnership. I can kill the bugs. You got to keep your tenants in check. Make sure the place is clean. You got to repair the place,
Right.
and this ain't going to be cheap, because the 20 years before that you've been paying your spray and pray guy to come in
Right.
every month, it ain't working.
Right.
You know, and I've got to kind of jar them out of this
Right.
this thinking that that's normal. It's not working. Your normal sucks.
Right.
So I'm going to come in here. It's going to be more expensive, and most people don't buy my uh,
Right.
apartment stuff, and I'm okay with that because I hate them. I hate
Right.
doing them.
Yeah.
But
We do
the
that's
ones,
about 30% of our business, believe it or not.
really, but the ones that do sign up, you know, they're on board, and it's hardcore,
Right.
and
And that's
you know, we
why
get
I
rid of it.
love the videos, why you need to put them out so that it's preempted, so that they don't even waste their time if they're not calling you, if they're not going to work on this. And that's what I do. I basically eliminate everybody that isn't on board. But so much of this is education and educating the masses. And I'm obsessed with educating the masses on what real pest control is.
Yeah.
And educating the technicians. And this is where NPMA hasn't done it, where the universities haven't done it, because nobody's reading their material. They're reading it, but the wrong people are reading it. People like me reading the material. I'm regurgitating it so that people can understand it. And I have to educate the consumer, which nobody's doing at mass scale, on what the future of pest control is, which is holistic pest management, where we take all these concepts, we put them together, and we create a custom program for every client based on the need. So if exclusion is available, use exclusion. If baiting is available, use baiting. The problem is everybody gets hung up on the pyramid and says, no, you got to start down here. I said, I'm not going to exclude a house for German roaches. They don't live outside. They live inside. Unless you're in Hawaii, then they do live outside.
I'll stay in Tennessee.
There you go. So, you know, again, how do we take a holistic approach to where let's make it work for the client with the lowest amount of toxicity possible, the least amount of chemical? I was called at Purdue University. I don't know if you saw that, if you heard it. I was called the chemophobe at the Purdue Pest Management Conference. Yes, I got mentioned at Purdue Pest Management Conference. That was that's going to go down in what is it? Infamy? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but that I'm a chemophobe, and that I'm representing, yes, because that's where it's going. That's what nobody wants to hear, that people don't want all the chemicals in their home. The more educated they are, the least they want it. And it's just conversations like this, like, you know, why is it that you're not getting the fact that you now have to be a business owner, and now you have to be responsible for employees? And this is what I would say probably 75 of the people that follow me aren't. They're single man operators. This doesn't register. But it's nonetheless, it's still the law, and we don't get it. And why are we having a discussion if I'm not going to use it? That's your business. Doesn't relieve me from the responsibility as an educator to educate you, whether you want to listen to me or not.
And even getting to this point to even have these kind of conversations is, especially with Joe homeowner.
Yeah.
Pest control is not sexy. You know, they don't jump on YouTube and,
no,
ooh, good, let's talk about legal labels and laws and stuff in pest control. Nobody cares. And the sad thing, I expect that from the consumer side. The sad thing is most people, I think probably it's just like, look, dude, it's just like in church, man. How many people actually open their Bible every day and read it?
I show up to mine, and I still got my paper Bible, and I still take my phone out, and I still look stuff when he's preaching, but I'm still he's looking at me, the pastor, probably the only guy sitting there in the front seat too, with the Bible in his hand.
But most people they never open it. And the same thing with pest control guys. And I'm sure it's in all industries. I mean, I've got a library over here of stuff.
Right.
you know, uh, nobody's continuing that education.
I think there's nobody. I think, look, you don't know what you don't know. And if for 20 years you've been taking courses and they've told you this is pest control and everybody's saying the same thing, you kind of believe it. I'm like the prophet that's standing among 400 prophets and everybody's saying he's wrong.
Yeah.
But yet I'll show you a page like this and say, no, look at what it says. You're absolutely wrong.
That's usually the guy I focus in on first, because I can, if he's right, then holy moly. But if he's wrong, I can just, I can push it away, and that's kind of where I see, when I got into the start my own, I was the guy who I could kill the bugs all day long, but when it came to business, I knew nothing.
Right.
So, I had that night job when I first started, so I could eat and feed my kids,
Right.
and it was just, okay, I don't know what I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
Right.
So I started with some business podcasts. 90% of them are junk.
Right.
They really are trash.
Well, they can't relate to the real hard brick and mortar service business because everybody's doing the software online thing, and that's how every business is now. That's all the podcasts are in regards to that.
So I mean, I consumed audiobooks and podcasts, and Pestgeek was one of them during that time. And there was a lot of it that didn't apply to me at the time, but I put it in my brain.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that don't apply to me, but, as I try to learn, but I put it in my brain.
Right.
And it never fails. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That weird guy with the cigars was saying something I listened to, and I can go back and, find it,
Right.
now that I need it, I need the details of that information,
right.
And you will never know it all.
No, you won't.
It's not going to happen. It'll never. I mean, look, I tell my customers all the time, I say, look, there's, I've got, 1,000 bugs here, on the low end to figure out that could pop up, and 1,000 plus chemicals to apply, to use at my disposal to take care of that. This isn't, just Bubba with a spray can.
Yeah.
This isn't Dale Gribble. That's why it should be a practice. It shouldn't be,
Well, it's just like the pesty ad that pops up because I'm in pest control, so they're gonna, my keyword search, the pesty ad where they're selling you now, 4 times a year they're gonna send you this little bag with a little sprayer, and they're using what is that? Basically is Demand CS, which is what's the active ingredient in Demand CS?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, one of those. And
but that I mean, we
but they're saying you're going to get professional grade pest control, and that's going to be great to spray around your property. Wait until you get that odorous house ant inside and you can't get rid of it. What are you going to do? Spray all that all over your house?
Lambda Sahalthrin.
Sahalthrin. Okay, there you go.
So and this is what I tell people. I said, look, you can go over to Wally World and get some stuff, or you can go to the co-op and get the good stuff, or you could, if you're really sneaky and smart, you can get on Amazon and get exactly what's on my truck. But you know what? I got some wrenches in my toolbox. My truck's kind of acting up right now. You put me under that truck with a wrench, and I'm going to screw it up.
Right.
I'm going to, and I'm going to.
Wait until you get a odorous house ant problem inside, and they're going to prevent it with a quarterly application of a product.
They'll take that demand inside their house and they'll hose everything down. And now who's at fault?
Right.
Now who's going to get sick, and what's going to happen?
Right. And that's what people don't understand, is that you're talking about one product. I carry 16 products on that truck to solve every pest problem that you're going to encounter. What are you going to do when you got a moisture issue and you're hosing your house down with Demand CS because you got silverfish and it's a moisture issue, or you got a drain fly problem,
Now what?
Now what?
Just dump that down the drain?
So they got a minimum viable product that's going to solve 10% of people's problems. You're not going to solve an American roach problem inside a home, or a woods cockroach, or an Australian roach problem.
And look, if we can't get the bug guys to read the labels and understand them,
what are we going to do with the customer?
You think that customer ever reads that label?
Right.
Ever?
And this is why I'm producing the content like this. Why
we don't ask for directions, for heaven's sakes.
This is why I'm doing the DIY pest control podcast. We're going to be launching that one. So I've got 20 done that I've been testing in the background to see what kind of audience I get. But this is the reason why we're going to be discussing the real issue about doing it yourself, and what you can do yourself and what you shouldn't do yourself. Like, I don't recommend you solve your own termite problem. Highly recommend you don't, and why. But we got to explain. We got to do it in an educational way, because a lot of guys take the attitude that, oh, I just won't give them any info, or I'll give them the wrong info and let them screw it up. That's the wrong attitude.
No.
Or you just ignore those people. I said, those people aren't going to weigh that they're your future customers, because when they realize they can't solve it, you're the one they're going to call.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I got people from all over the country, because we're starting to rank nationally. Our website is ranking nationally. Say, I want somebody in California to do it the way you're doing eco-friendly pest control, because I can't find someone in California. Think about
franchise
that. In California. And we use San Francisco protocols, which they got the strictest protocols in the state. And we use their protocols. They can't find someone to do eco-friendly in California.
Yeah. Well, it's very similar to, as far as educating the customer, like, I've really pushed hard on preventative bed bug.
Right.
Okay. And it's been a difficult road, but I'll tell you what's been really interesting is nobody gives a crap until they've had the bed bugs.
Right.
Now they're all about preventative bed bug.
Right.
So, and that is going to apply through all this customer level education that we're talking about.
Because even if at the end you educate them at the end, it's kind of like nobody worries about the heart attack until they get the heart attack. I mean, that's just human beings. Nobody cares about the weight. Nobody cares about until it happens to them.
True. Yeah.
That's just human nature. It's not just, we just get so focused on bugs, and because that's our business, that we forget that, scripture has a ton to say about this. But do you want that person then, after it's happened, to look for you and then share that with every one of their friends because it happened to them, and now he doesn't want it to happen to their friends? That's what you're looking for.
And that's exactly where I see the benefit of having, even with the errors in my YouTube channel, is I have people that are watching. In fact, I had a guy send me a resume from another company, wanting a job because of the videos,
And that's exactly what I'm looking at it as a holistic. It's integrated branding, because right now, everybody who hears me and talks to me knows if I'm not an A player, I won't even apply at his company. I don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
So it's the whole image that we have to bring. But, my goal is not only to be the pest control guy for the industry, but to be the pest control guy that people listen to in the commerce world. When you got hotel owners and hospital people going, I got hospital people that have said, I've seen your videos and I've never seen our pest control guy at the hospital do that.
Yeah, I get that a lot, because like you, I'm the guy who's going to tell them that what they think is the norm is junk.
Yeah, and that's your customer, truly.
Yeah, I don't want the one that wants the norm.
Right.
Wants that $15 a month stop and expects unicorns and rainbows to fall down. It ain't gonna happen.
We were talking at the Paul J. Bello conference, and you said something, and then you've said it before to me, that you're trying to figure out the eco-friendly thing because nobody cares where you're at about it.
Here, it's not, nobody's asking for it. It's extremely rare.
Right.
Now I have my normal customers they understand things like, okay, well, after your initial service, when I fix whatever's going on inside,
Right.
I don't want to be inside. I want to be outside doing stuff. There's no reason to put chemical inside your home, uh, unless there's a need.
Right.
There's no prevention with interior treatment. It makes no sense.
Right.
The bug's coming from the outside.
Right.
So they get the safety level. I love how they ask, is this going to hurt my dog? And there's
Right.
like 4 kids running around. They don't care about the kids. They just don't want to hurt Fluffy.
Right.
But
you know what? You just made an observation. I've said this probably about 20 times when I do conferences. People ask me more about their dog than they're asking me about their 1-year-old crawling on the floor with the same chemical that's going to be on that floor if I apply it.
Actually licking the baseboards.
Yeah. Yeah, licking the baseboards.
But the green level and the 25B and all that stuff that you're working with, nobody's doing it here.
All right. So
because there's no demand.
Right. Here is the thing. There is a demand. There is a demand.
Then why is nobody seeing it?
Because the people are asking for something different. There is no demand in Miami. The reason I have a demand is because I'm in a market of 3 million people. All I need is 0.1% to buy from me.
Yeah.
That wants it. You have how many people in that city? 28,000 population? Maryville?
I think it's 60.
Okay, 60,000. All right, think about that. And you notice what people are asking you, is it going to hurt my dog? Is it going to hurt my kid? They're not asking for the organic. They're asking it for not to hurt their kids.
Well, see, there's another word thing. People don't understand what organic and green and all those buzzwords mean. They have the wrong perception of what that means.
Correct. And I got to, believe it or not, I got to explain it to 99% of the customers that call me because they think we're going to spray their house with mint oil. and what I tell people is that I have an if you go to my website, front and center, it says, we use an integrated pest management process.
Mm-hmm.
Right underneath our front page. And we explain what that process is. We also have organic products. We also have natural products. They're different. But we do lawn and ornamental. We do plants. I got just a guy that called me to do 11 mango trees around his house. He wants to put them on our Eco Green program. See, we have an organic program for that. We have an organic program, a natural program for shrubs. 95% of our plants, healthcare, is on 25B with micros and aminos and humics and amino acids. And it's a combination of products, but we control insects and diseases on most plants with 100% natural. If 100% natural mosquito control with final feed.
Mm-hmm.
We have 100% flea and tick control for outside with 25B. We just don't have it available 100% natural organic for indoor. But I'm not misleading my customers when I say we are the leader in natural organics because we have all these programs. We have 5. When it comes to indoor, I have to now explain we go to an IPM process. And this is how we do it. And this is what the American Veterinary Association recommends. Go to their site. Here's the link. Here's what the Pediatric Association recommends. And we educate every customer in a 10-minute conversation about what IPM is and why we use it and why there is no surface contamination for 95% of pest problems that they have, unless they got a flea problem. The only time we ever have to do a surface spray is for a flea problem.
Yeah.
But other than that, we don't have to. So we explain it, but we have to educate every single customer. The question is, do you have the patience to educate every single customer? Are you going to have a sales force that's going to educate every single customer? Do you have technicians that are passionate about what you do that are going to educate every single customer? See, we have to create the culture and the brand, and that's what's hard. So your customers are asking for it. You just got to listen to how they're asking for it. They don't want to hurt Fluffy and they don't want to hurt the baby. Sell on that. Our process.
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know,
and
I
then
go into that explanation.
But you're using, because you're
why.
using Niban, and explain why using Niban is more eco-friendly than having to spray this all the time. See how what Austin Frischman, he qualified it, and he says the future of pest control is green. The problem is you got to define how green is.
That's
all
where
I
I
need
start that conversation with the customers.
And you have to, but the way you do it is you preempt it, where you do it with the prospect. You educate the prospect. He's watching the YouTube videos. He's going online to find information. He finds it on your website. He finds it in YouTube. He finds it on Facebook. And the more that customer is there, he's just not being the foodie, yoga, vegetarian guy, because there's just not enough of them in your market because of the volume. I've got 1.8 million people in Miami-Dade and like 1.4 in Broward. Of course I can find in a niche people that want it because I have the volume of people. There has to be those people in that group. And that's how we sustain. But it's taking it to that next level to where we're educating everybody on what real pest control is. And so what you can't focus on is the 25B products, because they have limited application. Like you notice, I never apply a 25B product indoor. However, I have a market of people looking for natural organic options. So we said, here's the option. Would you rather have this or a traditional spray service where they're spraying your floors with all the chemical? Yeah, I don't want that. Then this is the only option you have. It isn't me switching over and using Essentria or Ecovia and spraying the inside of your home. Believe it or not, we get better spider control outside with Ecovia than we do with anything else. We use the dust. We dust all the soffits. We take pool enclosures and we dust the pool enclosures that are screened with Ecovia, and we get 2 months control of spiders with that. Better than spraying Onslaught or anything else. People say it can't be done. Yeah, you just got to test it and use it. So that's where we're trying to, as the products get better. Think about it. We didn't have before 2007 25B products. Just a recent phenomenon.
Yeah.
And most people still don't know how to use them. They haven't done all the studies. I've got 67 studies that I published on 25Bs. Nobody wants to read through that. Everybody just tell me how to apply it, how to use it. I don't want to educate myself on mode of action. So yeah, bro, it's I think you got it. You're on the right track. You've put in a heck of a lot of work.
Hey, do what? No, my technician's here.
Okay, no problem.
The cat's hanging out there. There's a new wand for your sprayer in there. I'm still on this. I'll holler at you when I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, bro, we've been here what? Jeez.
2 hours.
More than that. We logged in like at 9:40. We've been talking.
Won't you shut up?
I know, right? Because you can talk too. I mean, people think Cubans are the only ones that talk a long time. No, dude. I mean, it's been great, man. Holler at me if you need any help with that. If you get stuck with that SEO and
I got just the list of stuff that I understand on the surface.
Right.
I've got a lot to do, and then there's notes on here that, because what I'll do is I'll take notes. I don't understand really, truly, fully what we're talking about on something, but I'll make the note and know that I can at least figure that out and then move forward with that task.
Yeah, and what I would do before you create any new content, this is what I had one of my guys do for a while. We had 100 and something videos to go through on Nature Pest, and I said, I need you to drop in, because we hadn't dropped in all the links. We updated them. So I literally had him sit here, my tech, when he had easy time off, and I had him copy and paste all the links into all the videos, all the social media links.
Yeah. Well, like yesterday, in preparation for doing the podcast from the videos thing, I went through and created a list and you know, a spreadsheet of all the videos, and you know, some are appropriate for podcasts, some aren't, and
Right.
you know, all the tasks that I got to do.
Yeah,
Man,
look into the top 10 places to put your podcast, because you got to get them on iTunes. You got to get that. You got to go into iTunes podcast
mhm,
and register your podcast with iTunes. If not, nobody's going to hear it. And that's
yeah,
the biggest distribution. And then you also got to do the same thing with Google Podcast, because every other like Podcast Addict and Castbox and all these guys will take the RSS feed from iTunes and just basically publish it from iTunes.
mhm,
So there's not a lot of the time you have to do to get it into, like, we are in, like, for Pandora, you got to register it. For what is the one with the little green squiggly thing for listening to radio? Um
oh, I don't know.
the
There's so
the
many.
radio channel. We are on iHeartRadio. We got on there. But you got to go in there manually. So that's right there is a good 40 hours worth of work just to get your podcast syndicated on
Yeah.
all of these. And somebody's knocking on my door, and I wonder who it is. Give me a second.
Yeah.
And we're going to be done, dude, because you got to go to work.
Yeah, I got a 2:00, man. Since you can't hear me, Frank, I wish I had something crazy to say. It's been good though. Really enjoy talking to another bug geek. So we should do this again sometime. I have a lot to do. Holy moly, I've got a lot to do. Between your list and PJB's list, and I've still got stuff on my PJB list from the first one that I went to. That was my fourth one or something like that. So there's a lot to do, man. Lot to do. Lot to do.
Bro, just when you thought you've heard it all, this is a new one. Check this out. This might help somebody. Where the heck I stick this thing in my ear? I mean, it's amazing. I don't actually commit suicide with these headphones, like get them tangled around my neck. Here's a company soliciting door to door. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
No, listen to this. For a lawyer on slip and fall accidents.
Wow.
They're going door to door now, finding people who have slipped and fallen or had an accident or a vehicle accident as a client. And she's like, well, I can't do this right now. I'm on a meeting. And she says, well, can I have your phone number and your name?
No.
Yeah, I gave it to her. I'm going to see what happens. Since I'm a marketing guy, but I thought, wow, door to door hustlers for car accidents.
Talk about ambulance chasing. Holy moly.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the competition is rough out here, bro. This is rough out here. You have no idea.
I got to get you to do something for me.
All right.
You've seen some of my videos.
All right.
You know how I start them with what bugs me, right?
Yeah.
I want to know what bugs you.
Guys that don't know anything about pest control. It just ticks me off to no end. I love that, bro. You do that in every video. I love it. That's what bugs me. Yeah. So I am out to basically deal with pest control ignorance, overcoming pest control ignorance. That's where, and from both sides. I want to bring both sides together. That's really my goal, is get the customer saying, yeah, I now know what a good pest control company looks like. Let me go look for one.
That's why I started mine. Same exact reason, man.
Yeah, that's it. We just got to, we all got to spread the message. You know, you do it your way, I do it mine. But at the end of the day, we're spreading the message about what real pest control, what holistic pest management is. And I think I'm coining that term, holistic pest control, because that's what we do. I take a look at the customer. I take a look at the structure. I take a look at the pest, and I take the environment into consideration. I think that's where we're at, is we're holistic pest control people where we look at all the needs. I mean, a lot of the time I'm doing more ministry and more psychology with the client than I'm actually killing the bug. It's most of the time is they're is just afraid of everything, and they're afraid of the chemicals and their kids. And I have to do more assurance on that than I have to do selling about my product or what we use or anything like that. So
like a bartender.
Pretty much, bro. I mean, I tell my guys, I said, half of the calls I get for complaints have nothing to do with bugs. Left the gate open.
Yeah.
Did something.
I gotta choke my technician. He scratched the floor the other day.
Yeah.
And I had my guys go out and look at it, and I'll be dadgummed if it wasn't one of them specialty hoity-toity floors that's going to be
of course
really
it is
expensive. Of course, it's never the cheap stuff.
Of course, not the linoleum vinyl flooring in a motorhome on a trailer park. Yeah, it's always that $3,000 dollar hardwood floor that. Yeah, I know. And this is where we just got to keep educating people, bro. We just can't give up. If we're gonna have technicians, it's constant coaching.
Like more children.
Pretty much. All right, brother. I know you got to get going. You got your guy there, man. Thank you so much for being on.
I got stuff to go kill, man. I can't be yapping with you all day.
I know, right? It'll be fun, though.
Absolutely. We'll do this again, brother.
Thank you, man. God bless you, bro. Take care.